Okay, great. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming tonight. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Iacilli.
Present.
Councilman Pell.
Present.
Councilman Schiavone.
Present.
Thank you. I move to accept the minutes of the town board meeting of September 5th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to approve the minutes from the town board meeting of September 10th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
Certainly. We have received communications in the office of the town clerk, public notices from the town of Riverhead, notice of adoption, Village of West Hampton Beach, Zoning Board of Appeals application for Hazelwood Avenue. Emails, letters, and land use applications have been received regarding the following: all-inclusive playground goal, beach parking at Gibson Lane, Village of Sagaponack, battery energy storage system placement, CPF acquisition of number 3 North Haven Way, Village of North Haven, Hampton Bays pattern book update, planning board matter of Mutts Only Cannabis Dispensary, Hampton Bays, property maintenance at number 1 East Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, Shinnecock Nation Westwoods Gas Station Project, in Hampton Bays, Shinnecock Nation Westwoods Hotel Resort Project, Hampton Bays. Planning board application for 9 The Bridge, Noyak. The following bid and requests for proposals were opened September 5th. An RFQ for professional architectural engineering and surveying services for municipal works. And the following report was filed from the town assessor for the 2024-25 CPF eligible parcel list. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you. I have 5 walk-ons and a substitution that I'd like to add to the agenda. The first is Town Board Resolution ID number 47535, the 2024 notice to bidders for fencing and stakes. Then the Town Board Resolution 47536 to waive the showmobile fee for Live Your Core Foundation fundraiser. Town Board Resolution ID number 47540 to release of performance and accept the deed of dedication into the town highway system for an extension of roads known as Barn Lane and Birchwood Lane in the hamlet of Bridgehampton. Town Board Resolution ID number 47541, which is the warrant, number 18. For Town Board Resolution 47542, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with eScribe Software Limited for their meeting management software solution to manage the town's meeting agendas, minutes, and meeting video streaming. And then the substitution is Town Board Resolution ID number 47545 as a substitution for resolution number 2024-1115, an allocation of ARPA coronavirus federal grant waste management equipment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Public hearing number 1, to consider amending Town Code 330-10B8 to correct a typographical error in the table of use regulations as it relates to schools for the intellectually disabled. I'm sorry.
Keep those.
Oh, if you want to learn it the right way, give it to the clerk. If you want to live.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex Moran. I was an intern at the town attorney's office. I'm now a student of West Hampton Beach High School. I'm here with Katie to propose a code amendment. The purpose of this amendment is to replace the term mentally retarded with the term intellectually disabled in the table of use regulations as it relates to schools for the intellectually disabled. In 2019, by the Town Board Resolution number 2019-885, The code was amended to replace the term mentally retarded with the term intellectually disabled. Although the code was amended in 2019, this reference in the table was not amended. Upon request from the planning board, we conducted some research concerning the wording of the proposed amendment, and we have some other terms. If you'd like, I could read them all.
I just wanted to add, yes. So basically, what Alex described, and you guys know, is just to basically clean up the town code. What he was mentioning was because this is a code amendment to Chapter 330, it had to be referred to the planning board and referred to the Suffolk County Planning Commission. Suffolk County Planning Commission came back as a matter for local determination, and the planning board just said, oh, could you just make sure that you have the most updated terms? And so I had asked Alex to kind of just do a search for it, and we found a bunch of alternatives. But to be consistent with what exists in the town code, you know, there wasn't one that stood out more than the others, and we kind of just figured safer to just keep it the way that it is, and then if and when, you know, because, I'm sorry, let me just back up. This is in the town code for special exception standards. So if and when, you know, we want to change the special exception standards to be more inclusive, then we could do a full overhaul. But right now, it's really just to do the town code amendment to fix it, to fix the table of use regulations. And we blew it up there for you to see because it's so small in the notice.
Do you remember in 2019 how many places in the code that we changed?
Yes, there's
I
a
remember
couple.
it was like 7 or 8.
Yeah,
that I did.
it was really just the special exception standards, because those are laid out in the town code. And if anybody ever opens up the town code book anymore, you'll see that what we've amended is in the back as a fold out. So in 2019, hold on, I have it right in here in Alex's folder,
Yeah, it's okay.
but I have it.
But is this a typographical error or is this a substitution of a term?
It's a substitution of
Okay.
term. I mean,
I
it
saw
wasn't
that.
spelled incorrectly. It just was not caught.
It's an antiquated term.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and it was in 2019. It was really just once. It was for the heading for the special exception standards. But like I said, when I just did a quick word search, I was like, oh, it's still in the code.
In this particular code, because I remember it was my bill.
Yep.
We put it was all throughout the town code, the former name. Alex, thank you for bringing this forward.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
very
Well done.
appropriate. Thank you, Alex.
That's great.
And Katie. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments? I don't have a card for this public hearing, but Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to be heard?
You're a student at Westhampton Beach High School?
Yes.
You might want to consider Youth in Government. It's an awesome program. It brings kids to Albany. They make laws and present them on the floor of the Assembly and the Senate.
Okay.
It's awesome.
All right. Thank you.
I just want to say good job public speaking. It's
Yeah.
so easy to get up there.
All right,
Yeah.
very much. That's
Thank
great.
you.
And Alex was wonderful to have in the summer, so it's great. So, great job. Yeah, you're on your
you.
way.
Okay, then I move to close the public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
Public hearing number 2 for a deed of dedication of open space in connection with the final condition approval of the Rothman Dynasty subdivision in the hamlet of Watermill.
Good evening, Supervisor, members of the board. For your consideration, as recommended by the Planning Board, is the acceptance of an open space parcel totaling approximately 5.278 acres on approximately an 8.05 acre site in connection with a subdivision known as Rothman Dynasty. And if you look over here, this is the green portion, that's the 5 acres that's going to be deeded over to the town, and then these are the other 2 lots that are being created by this subdivision. The map is located in the CR 80 zoning district in an agricultural overlay district and is listed on the Community Preservation Fund priority list as an agricultural land priority. It is located in the hamlet of Watermill and is further identified on the Suffolk County tax map as number 900-113-2-1.2. The final application, as you can see, consists of 3 lots, with the 3rd lot being the agricultural lot, surrounded on the north and the east by Flax Pond. Anthony Trezza and I are both here if the board has any questions. Otherwise, if the board is so inclined, I would just close the public hearing and we'll have a resolution of adoption on for the next board agenda.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions
No.
for Christine? All right. Kevin, is there anybody on Zoom who'd like to speak at the public hearing? Okay. Well,
Okay, I'd
thank
like-
you, Ben.
Thanks, Chris.
I'd like to make a
It's
motion.
a tough act to follow.
Close the hearing.
Second.
Alex is done.
Yeah, that's a tough act.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the third public hearing?
Public hearing number 3, to consider amending Southampton Town Code, Chapter 298, Taxation, to amend Article 8, Residential Capital Improvement Exemption, to authorize an exemption for the creation of new accessory dwelling units within the town.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Deputy Town Attorney Kathleen Murray. On April 20th, 2024, Chapter 56 of the Laws of 2024 was signed into law, amending New York State Real Property Tax Law, Section 421-P. This provision allows for a real property tax exemption for capital improvements to residential new construction, which involves the creation of an accessory dwelling unit. You may recall that this matter was discussed at a work session held on July 11th, and your tax assessor, Lisa Gorey, as well as this board, recommended utilizing this state-enabling legislation to extend the exemption to residents within our town. So the purpose of the local law before you is to amend Town Code Chapter 298, which addresses taxation, at Article 8, to reflect this new exemption for capital improvements to residential new construction, where the creation of an accessory dwelling unit is constructed. For the purposes of this section, an accessory dwelling unit is defined as any residential building reconstructed, altered, improved, or newly constructed in order to create an additional residential dwelling unit on the same parcel as a pre-existing residential building in order to provide independent living facilities for one or more persons. The accessory dwelling unit may be attached or detached and must include permanent provisions for living, sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. Pursuant to this provision, the new accessory dwelling unit shall be exempt for a period of 5 years to the extent of 100% of the increase in assessed value attributable to that improvement. Thereafter, the exemption shall be decreased by 25% of the exemption base for each of the next 3 years, and then the exemption shall be decreased by a further 10% of the exemption base during the final 2 years, with the exemption expiring after the 10th year, which is reflected on this chart here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but you can see years 1 through 5, 100% of the exemption, years 6 through 8, 75%, year 9, 65%, year 10, 55%, and then year 11, it's no longer appropriate. Some notable requirements regarding the exemption are that the construction must be commenced after the effective date of this law to the extent that this board is inclined to adopt it. The value of the construction must be greater than $3,000. The construction must create an additional residential dwelling unit on the same parcel as the pre-existing residential building and provide independent living for one or more persons. This provision does not capture ordinary maintenance and repairs, and the exemption shall be limited or capped at $200,000 in increased market value of the property attributable to the improvement or construction. Any increase in the market value greater than this amount shall not be eligible for the exemption. And finally, the exemption shall cease or be discontinued in the event that the building granted the exemption is no longer used for residential purposes, or in the event that title is transferred to someone other than an heir or distributee of the owner. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have. Also available to answer any questions is Kara Back, your Director of Housing and Community Services. Lisa Gorey is currently at the annual New York State Assessors Conference, so she can't be with us tonight, but she did participate in that July work session and has reviewed the proposed legislation.
She gave a very thorough presentation and
Yes.
informed us all of the implications, and this has no impact on the revenue received from the tenant to the homeowner, correct?
Correct.
Just to clarify, this is not on the cost of building the ADU. It's the assessed value as a result of
Correct.
the ADU.
Any
The
increase in your assessed property value.
the assessed value,
And it's
And it-
only on town taxes, not on school taxes.
Correct. Any other special district, including your school districts, would also have to opt in under this similar provision under New York State real property tax law. It's a good point.
And it should be noted that not all accessory dwelling units increase the assessment and the property value. Generally, they do a bit, but if the square footage is the same and, you know, the house is essentially used the same and there's an accessory dwelling unit in the existing structure, the assessment could very well be, the change could very well not be too much. But this is fantastic.
And the homeowner must apply for this?
Correct. The homeowner would apply with your tax assessor, and my understanding is that they only need to apply once, although we can get clarification for you, but I understand they could only have to apply once for that 10-year period, unless and until there's a change in ownership thereafter. That doesn't qualify.
And since we're asking questions, what was the impetus behind this introducing this legislation on the state level? I don't know if that's for you or maybe for Kara. Thank you.
Good evening, Kara Back. I'm the Director of Housing for the town. I think how this came about was New York State started the +1 ADU program, which is a grant program, and the town of Southampton applied for that grant. And we are distributing that grant to people who income qualify. If you're a homeowner who income qualifies, you can get a grant up to $125,000 in order to build an ADU on their property. I think what started happening is some people said, well, that's fine, that's great, I'm going to build this ADU, but what are my taxes going to go up to? And that's why I think the state stepped in and said, all right, we're going to quell that fear. We're going to say, all right, your taxes aren't going to go up, at least for the first 5 years, and then it will be on a sliding scale down to year 11.
So those who are renting in the town of Southampton an ADU, they have to be income qualified, correct?
Yeah. So the tenant is required to be income qualified in any ADU. So whether somebody is applying for one of our funding programs, whether it be the +1 ADU grant program or it be our newly enacted CHF ADU loan, which doesn't have an income qualifier for the homeowner, that the tenant that's residing in that ADU must be income qualified at 130% of the area median income. In addition, the rent that the homeowner charges must be an affordable rent that is set by you, the town board, on an annual basis.
And so the housing department is working with the Department of Public Safety to send out, I believe, a yearly affidavit. Is that correct?
Yeah.
To make sure that not only is the ADU affordable, but that, you know, nobody's profiting off of, you know, tenants.
Yes, exactly. So it must be the year-round resident of both the tenant and the homeowner. So we do send out affidavits. If we don't receive the affidavits back, code enforcement will do a check to make sure that it is the primary residence of both the homeowner and the tenant.
Okay, thank you for answering those questions.
I have one more question for you. So if it does say in here that if you are no longer using the ADU as a rental, you cease to get the benefit of the tax exemption?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
When you do your annual checks, do you then notify the assessor that it's no longer being rented?
Well, that would probably be something that code enforcement will notify my office, and then we will notify the tax assessor that it's no longer being occupied.
But you send out the affidavit from your office?
We do.
And then if you don't get it back, you notify code enforcement?
Yes.
We'll go and check. All right, well, I do have one card on this. Carla Casper.
Hi, my name is Carla Casper. I live on Silverbrook Canal in Flanders, and my community is here to let you know that this is an issue important to Flanders. I have the experience of having been down the ADU road in a different municipality on the West Coast. And first of all, I'd like to say, Tommy John, thank you for your intervention for our Head Start program. Early, as you know, as an educator, early childhood education is critical, and we really want to commend you for stepping up and taking care of that.
Thank
So,
you, Barbara.
yeah. And so about ADUs. To answer your question, Mike, there is little return on investment for a homeowner to do this, and this is why they have to add in these incentives. In 2010, we were all for it in Seattle. We did it. We pushed our council through this. We made them do it, and the adoption rate was abysmal because people couldn't pencil out the math. So I commend the board for trying to figure out how to make it more palatable for people financially. What Seattle ended up finding out in their study, and I highly recommend the 2022 ADU annual report, is in order for a homeowner to actually be made whole, they had to have 2 ADUs. That was a big shock for us, but we couldn't pencil it out. So I commend you for trying to make it more affordable, because this is all about affordable housing. And like other crises, it's gonna take more than this to solve this. You know, from Barcelona to Japan, every resort town is having to limit short-term rental corporate interests. East Hampton's done it. I want you to think about this, that our housing stock needs to go to local people. And the overwhelming number of vacation rental corporate interests houses that are taken off the market are just not acceptable. And every resort town is going through this. This is not just us, but it needs further effort in this crisis than this. This is a good start. For solving the crisis, the other option that our community needs is we need you to plow the road of the zombie houses.
30 seconds.
Yes, ma'am, on target. The zombie house needs to be demoed. There are towns up island where once the fire marshal marks it condemned, it's 90 days and then they bulldoze it and build them. You cannot bill a person who's no longer with us on this planet and who has gone to the hereafter. These are situations that need attention. And Cindy, I think you've said this before, we need single family housing. People want to grow up and have their kids grow up the way they did.
3 minutes.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to speak at this public hearing?
I think my video is disabled by the host, so.
There you
Okay.
are.
Hi,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. Yep.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you hear us? Kevin, I don't think she
Can you
hears
hear
us.
me?
Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you can hear me.
Yes.
I can't hear you, so I'm just gonna speak. I'm Meredith Britz, and I'm here to share comments on behalf of the Bridgehampton Civic Association. We actually met yesterday and discussed this particular legislation. I think generally we're very supportive of the idea that it would be creating, as the prior speaker said, creating incentives that help with affordable rental units, and especially for independent living, which generally applies to seniors and or other family members who might need a caregiver, or for a caregiver to live for someone who's residing in the primary residence. I think what we wanted to clarify is to make sure that it does go to those, because the way independent living is used in the proposal is that it's not really defined. And so we wanted to make sure and offer some suggestions that the town maybe consider defining that more carefully. My understanding is that Kingston, New York was the first New York municipality to adopt this since the legislation was enacted. And they actually did define what it meant to be independent living. And they also limited the size of the ADUs to be 1,000 square feet where they were detached, or the maximum of 1,000 square feet when it was attached, or 50% of the square footage of the primary unit when they did adopt this legislation. And we would just ask on behalf of the Civic Association that you consider putting in some definitions, because what we see happen in Southampton often is that, you know, provisions are adopted with a lot of well-meaning, and then we get very clever lawyers who then drive a truck through them. And we don't want that to happen here, where then these units are used for rentals or some other purpose that's not really what it was intended for, which is to assist with affordable and true independent living situations. Thank you.
Thank you. Tara, did you want to speak to that, please?
So some of
There's
the,
size limitations already in our.
yeah, it's already in the code under section 330-11.1, which is our accessory apartments provision of the town code. So we have limitations. It can be, the accessory apartment can be a minimum of 400 square feet, a maximum of up to 1,000 square feet. It can be an attached or a detached dwelling. So I think that those answers some of her questions.
Mm-hmm. The independent living definition?
Yeah, so independent living, that's what would be considered an accessory apartment, whether it be attached or detached.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
And again, it's in the code that it must be affordable.
Correct, right. So, yeah, so again, under the town code, the tenant must have an income limitation of up to 130% AMI, and the rent that's charged is the rent that the town board sets on an annual basis as an affordable rent.
Which we did recently, right?
Yes, you did. Just if I could answer some of the questions of the previous speaker too, with regard to how can you all help? Well, you have with regard to accessory apartments. You all set aside $1.25 million of CHF funds for accessory apartments. It's a no-interest loan up to $125,000, 20-year loan that the payments begin in year 2 to help with that. So if somebody takes out the entire payment of the entire loan of $125,000, the monthly payment would be approximately $500 a month. In a one-bedroom apartment, they can achieve a rent of $2,500. So there's still room there for somebody who needs this for the extra income. They will be receiving income.
And also, to the other speakers' comments too, we have also dedicated $1.25 million to a down payment assistance program, correct, for single-family homes.
Yes, absolutely.
For first-time home buyers.
Buyer down payment assistance. Yes, that's another terrific program. Both of these programs we're getting a lot of interest in. So far, there have been 85 applications that have been received for the ADU programs, both the Plus One and the CHF program. In addition, the town board just authorized the purchase of some land in Tuckahoe for the construction of 10 single-family homes. So we're moving along. This is a new fund, but we're utilizing the fund to the best of our abilities, and we're creating some great affordable programs.
And Kara, given that, you know, obviously there is an imperative to achieve affordable housing regionally, but of course here in the town of Southampton, if folks are interested in the ADU program or the down payment assistance program, who would they contact?
They can contact my office. We'd be happy to. It's also on the town's website. If you go to the town's website under government, go into the housing department. When you click on that, the CHF programs comes up, and there's a description and guidelines and applications for each of the different programs that we're offering right now.
Great.
So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your guidance to us on all of these matters.
All right, I think I would just ask if we could possibly leave the written record open for 2 weeks, because I was expecting Lisa to be here. I know she's at a conference. I just want to hear from her on the side of this, because we've had other taxing things like this that have come forward to us, and without the buy-in from the school district, you know, looking at an annual tax savings of around $50, is it worth it on the assessor's side to do all of that extra research and work and validating for $50 if we can't get buy-in from the schools? And I know in other instances, Lisa has told us that it's really not worth it, and we've foregone some things without buy-in from the school. So I would just like to hear from her what the work issue is on her side for the calculations and the tracking and all of that before we put this legislation through to potentially save somebody $50 a year.
Didn't she say at the July 11th work session that it should be doable, the work? It should be manageable?
She didn't, but I would just like to, because we didn't have the calculation at that point in time. So I just want to see,
What
if based on the calculation of like $50 as a tax savings. I mean, we're putting this forward and it sounds great, but for somebody to do the application and for Lisa's office to process it and then all of this to go through when, 80% of your taxes are from the school. If the schools don't buy into this, is it really worth all of that effort on behalf of the town and the tenant and the homeowner to put this all through for $50 potentially?
It is worth it. And, to quote $50 is, we don't know what the calculation is going to be, and it would also depend on the size of the accessory dwelling units. You say $50 as if
The
it's
most
one
it could
size.
potentially
If
be
I
is
could finish, Councilwoman, if I could
$277.
finish, please.
I'm just giving you the number.
And so, it depends on the size and what the assessment would be and which community it would be in. I like the legislation. We could certainly keep it open if the lead sponsor would want to do that, but I think we should close it and pass this. One of the things that people look at when they consider putting accessory dwelling units on is the increase in assessment. And I wouldn't mind being the first one to put this in place so that the other municipalities, school districts, and other towns would follow, and we would have more accessory dwelling units.
Kara, do you happen to know what the school's positions are on this? Have they made it known?
I thought, and on that same question, I thought that we had discussed at the work session that it wouldn't make sense for the schools to opt into this because it would actually be a burden for the schools. Do I recall that correctly?
Well, the schools have to opt in, but we didn't do any polling of any of the school districts as to whether or not they would be interested in opting in at this point.
Would that be something, if we were to leave this open, would that be something that your office could be charged with trying to figure out?
Sure. We could definitely, contact some of the school districts to see if they would be interested.
Is there a timeline with respect to the state? Because this is a state legislation, do we have to sort of move ahead with this in sort of a set time frame, or?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think it's pretty safe to say.
I'm just asking for 2 weeks.
Yeah, the 2 weeks would take us to the next meeting anyway. We don't have a resolution on for tonight anyway.
Okay, it's pretty safe to say if we don't do this, the schools will not opt in. And that's not a criticism. I'm just saying, we could show leadership in this area, and I believe we should.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Pat. All right, so I'll move to close the public hearing, but leave it open
Oh,
for
Michael,
2
you're
weeks.
the lead sponsor. What do you want to do on this?
Sorry, I
No, that's
realized
okay.
you
No,
were
no, no.
responsible.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll close it with the 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Who's second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the fourth public hearing?
Public hearing number 4, to consider amending Town Code, Chapter 312, Vehicles and Traffic, amending parking time limited in designated locations, regulations, and adding parking prohibited in designated locations, regulations on a portion of Corth Avenue, Bridgehampton.
Good evening. So I'm here to speak about the Corth Avenue parking regulations that we're looking to amend. We have two
Tom, could you just state your name?
Oh yeah, Tom Horton, Town Engineer, Director of Municipal Works. We have two parking regulations that we're looking to amend on Corth Avenue. The first stemmed from a request from the Highway Department, who has 200 feet of frontage on Corth on the east side. The Highway Department has 2 gates for their Bridgehampton barn, and based on the width of the roadway and the shoulder, and the number of cars that are parking both on the opposite side of the highway barn and the occasional side that the highway bar is on, they're unable to have large tractor trailers make deliveries to make the swing into the barn. We get deliveries all hours of the day, sometimes in the evening, sometimes early morning. So they've requested that we put a no parking restriction along the frontage of the highway barn, which would keep vehicles out of that swing path and would allow us to have salt deliveries and equipment deliveries and the like without any impedance to the highway department's operations. So the second restriction that we're looking to extend is the 3-hour time limit parking along Corwith. Currently, it is 3-hour time limited from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. from Montauk Highway to Newman Avenue. So as you are on Montauk Highway across from Candy Kitchen, you're heading north on Corwith. Until you hit that first side street, it's 3-hour time limited. So you're not parking there all day. There is some head-in parking at the corner where the museum is, and then the rest of it's parallel parking along Corwith. You kind of park there, you go to the hardware store, you run to Candy Kitchen, you get a bite, and then you're out of there. What we're seeing is that between the highway barn and Newman, there are cars that are parking on that shoulder all day long, throughout the entirety of the day. We surmise that they are from businesses on Maple Lane, but we're not quite exactly sure where these cars are, where they're going, whether they're using this as train station overflow parking. It's something that we would like to address. We're looking to extend the 3-hour time limit between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. from Newman to the highway department. So that whole stretch of Corwith would be 3-hour. You can park there, you can go into the hamlet, you can go to a restaurant, you can do some shopping, and then you go on your way instead of having full-time parking during the whole day on that stretch. So we don't have any more parking lots being proposed for people to park in for the Hamlet Center, so this would allow those that are coming and going to have a bit of extra parking, and it would also help to get rid of some of the long-term parking that's occurring regularly on the shoulder of Corwith. So,
Thank you, Tom. So does it make sense, one of the questions that came from the community, does it make sense to get an idea of who the people are that are parking along Corwith?
I think it makes sense in order to hopefully have their businesses address the amount of parking that they have on site. But from the standpoint of the town's road acting as a parking lot,
right.
I don't know.
How long has this issue been going on?
It's for years, as long as I've been out here. So,
and the concerns is that if we do this, it could potentially necessitate the need for a parking lot. But is that are we considering making or creating a parking lot?
I mean, I think in the long-term future, there might be a parking lot in the picture, but that's just due to the popularity of the Southport Commuter Connection, our train routes, the ability to easily travel in and out of the hamlet by train. That would be a well-suited parking lot that is associated with the Long Island Railroad. Are we building a parking lot just for the sake of a parking lot? No.
Any other questions?
Anybody have any questions? I do have a card on this. Susan White. Tom, if you just see if you don't leave.
Thank you. My name is Susan White. I live on Corwith Avenue, and I've lived there for almost 35 years. And I live right across the street from the yard. So something that I want to say is there are people parking there. There are probably 10 or 11 cars from local businesses, mostly on Maple, who have been very respectful, very tidy, and that's where they go to work. And what I'm concerned about, and what I think everyone on my street is concerned about, is that this initiative to restrict parking will result in a parking lot, which none of us want. And so I mostly have come here for information, but I wanted to state that as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where will the workers park?
Respond to that
Sure.
a little bit? We have no plans for a parking lot at this time. Nothing's concrete. Nothing's really even in the works. The zoning code does require that the businesses are to provide parking on site for their employees and therefore for their constituents.
Tom, I think what I
Yeah.
got from that was I think the fear is I think they would rather have the employees parking there all day rather than have cars swapping out every 2 and 3 hours.
Sure.
Was I correct in that? Yes or yes?
True, but also.
I just.
Avoid a parking lot.
But we don't have any plans to put it in.
No plans.
Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to speak at this public hearing? 3 people, all right, let's bring them on.
Excuse me.
Peter, you're muted.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Peter Prater with the Bridgehampton Civic. I'm actually here to speak in the public portion, but we had a meeting yesterday of our civic organization, and one of the suggestions that we came up with was the Catholic Church has a significant amount of parking that abuts Good Shepherd's Farms. There are about 10 or 11 spaces there, and since the lot is fairly empty, most of except for the weekend, we suggested that the town, since they put in the right-of-way to that parking lot, that they make those spaces available. The businesses, the local businesses that are using whose cars they belong to, the workers, we think our crack detective staff has found out that it's mostly Harmonia, and I think maybe one of the companies that build tennis courts are the 2 main people whose cars are parked along Corth, and they are there all day, and it's anywhere between 10 and 14 cars. I counted 14 today. So maybe they could all band together and make some type of come to an arrangement with the church, pay them an annual fee. Each person gets some type of medallion or a sticker or something they could put in their dashboard and use those spaces during the week, because those spaces are pretty much unoccupied during the day. And that might be a way to solve the problem and get those cars off of Corth. The other thing that came up yesterday was the amount of long-term parking behind the candy kitchen. If you go there on a Saturday or a Sunday, people can't park there because there's so many spaces that are reserved only for long-term parking, which seems ridiculous to all of us. Like, why can't we use it to go to Bobby Van's to have lunch and then leave? But we're not allowed to do that. Somebody actually got a ticket for doing that. So that doesn't seem to make sense. And maybe, if you're looking to alleviate some of the parking strain, which there really isn't that much in Bridgehampton, to be perfectly honest with you. We're not Safe Harbor by any stretch of the imagination. But I think that would be something else that the town could look at also. Reducing the number of long-term spaces, or at least letting people park there, for a couple of hours if no one's in there. I mean, that seems like a perfectly reasonable alternative. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
John, what's the long-term parking that he's referring to?
So in our town code, we have a designated number of spaces within many of our municipal parking areas that residents can pay a fee to obtain a permit to leave their car there for up to 14 days, I believe. So if you are heading out of town or anything like that, you can leave your car there for 10, 12, 13, 14
But
days.
it's by permit only?
Yes, correct. You obtain your permit by application to the town clerk.
So maybe we should look at maybe 7 days.
Yeah, I mean, we can also we're definitely going to take these into consideration. I mean, it sounds like coordination between the town coordinating between businesses and other local businesses to kind of fill parking gaps. It's a great idea, and we'll also look at the number of long-term parking spaces.
And also, might be able to move those long-term parking into the back part of the parking lot.
Yeah. So we'll take a look at that candy kitchen parking lot for sure.
Great.
So,
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, well,
I think there's 2 more. Kevin, is there more?
Yeah, there's 2 more.
Can you hear me?
Yes, hello, Pam.
Oh, good. Hello, I'm Pamela Harwood, President of the Bridgehampton Civic. First of all, I want to thank Council Member Michael Iacilli for giving us the heads up about this resolution so that we had an opportunity to discuss it at our board meeting last night. Thanks very much for that. And in addition to what my colleagues have already said, I want to emphasize that I really do think it behooves the town to find out who these car owners are, what businesses are attached to before jumping to the conclusion that they're hopping on a commuter railroad when our neighbors do think that they've seen them go to the businesses on Maple. And if that's true, you've already said in your resolution that there is available parking spaces at those businesses. I counted 10 parking spaces at the Harmonia lot, mostly unused. Nobody's parking in there. And then as far as the businesses on Maple, they also do have available parking, maybe not for 14 cars, but these 14 cars may be working at 5 different businesses. I think it really does behoove you, since you can check the license plates, not who they are, but where they are working. That's what we're concerned with, where they're employed. And I think that's the beginning of finding a solution before we jump into, restricting everything. I understand the people who live on Corwith South, object to they have a view of the field, and having all these cars parked there takes away their view of the field, and I can understand that. So even people parking for 3 hours may not make them happy. But, and I think it is a good suggestion to speak with the Queen of the Most Holy Rosary Church, because they are in need of income. They have expressed that to us, and so making a partnership with them for the weekdays only seems like a really good idea. So there are solutions here. And even though the town engineer has indicated that there are no plans to build an additional parking lot in Bridgehampton at this time, that doesn't mean that we're concerned that this resolution would come first, the restrictions will come, and then later on, these workers will say, well, now we have nowhere to park all day. We need a place to park all day. And then they're going to ask for another parking lot, which the residents do not feel we need. And there's always talk of parking problems, but there's tons of available parking in Bridgehampton, even if you want to walk a half a block. So that's all. So a lot to think about here, but I urge you to find some of these things out before you jump to changing the parking restrictions, or at least at the same time. Thanks very much.
Thank you. The church.
Excuse me?
Were you looking at something with the church?
Months ago.
Thank you. Hello.
Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Thank you very much for your time and for your attention to this matter. My name is Dan McMahon. I live at 115 Corwith Avenue. My parents built the house in 1969. I'm also speaking on behalf of my niece and nephew-in-law, Brooke and Kevin Gregor English, who live at 107 Corwith Avenue in the house that their parents, my sister Coral and Jeff Gregor, bought back in the 70s. Just to address a couple of the items mentioned by Peter and Pamela, and also Mr. Houghton, who I would just like to highlight. I am greatly indebted to Mr. Houghton's efforts on this. Brooke and I took this issue up, and I don't know if others had previously, but Brooke and I took this issue up with the Southampton Town Police, excuse me, as well as the Highway Department a couple of years ago, and made modest progress. It's noted that at that time, and I have picture evidence, the sign on Corwith Avenue at Newman Avenue had originally been mislabeled and was designated 3-hour parking through for the entirety of Corwith Avenue on the west side of Corwith Avenue, and which I pointed out, and without explanation, the sign was promptly changed to reflect that the 3-hour parking limit ended at Newman Avenue, which, as Tom explained to me, was what the code had originally intended, and it was just a mistake. I can, and I know that if this were a court of law, this would probably be deemed inadmissible as hearsay. But in regard to who these people are, in addition to Peter's amateur sleuthing, I have done my own as Brooke. They wear T-shirts and uniforms for Harmonia Landscaping and also the tennis company at the that is located on Maple Avenue. I have followed them to their jobs. They arrive very early in the morning, 6 a.m. The cars are parked there until 4 or 5 p.m. when they all leave. And like I said, I've followed them. They're pleasant, don't get me wrong. I'm not worried about them eating our dogs and cats, but that's really not the point. It was mentioned that our concerns are about ruining our view of the field. It's been unobstructed for the entirety of our residencies.
30
for
seconds.
50 plus years. The fact is, I don't mind when there is overflow parking from the town. There are often events at the church. There used to be the art show, and it makes the town and the street feel alive. That's not the issue. It's the people that are using it as a parking lot, and it's not the town's responsibility to provide parking for these businesses, nor is it the residents' responsibility to bear the burden.
3 minutes, sorry. 3 minutes.
The burden, and I was rushing. I thought I only had 30 seconds.
No,
No,
yeah,
you have
3 minutes, your
you've hit
time is
3-minute
up.
mark.
I can take a breath now. It's, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But it is the responsibility, as I understand it, of these businesses. And yes, it was mentioned by Pamela that there are ample spaces available at Harmonia. I guess that to be the case. I think there are 0 spaces available.
Sir, your time is up.
All right. Thank you kindly for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
So, Tom, do you mind coming up to the podium one more time? Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, thank you so much, Tom, for your efforts. When we received some comments from the public about this, you were very prompt, and we visited the area. We did a site visit, and we took a look at what we could do. So I appreciate your efforts on that. Do you think it would be fine to? Could we revisit this at a later time?
I would make the request that we approve the highway department no parking, because I think that's kind of without question that's a benefit to the highway department, benefit to the street, benefit to the town, and that we break up the 3-hour portion.
So we'd have to redo this.
No, I don't think so. What's that?
You only want to be part of it. Do the no parking on the highway, but not the 3-hour parking.
I'd prefer to renotice it.
Do a whole other public hearing.
I think we can do a resolution just
If
adopting
it's less
part
than,
of it.
if it's less than, I think you're okay. If you want, legally, I
Okay.
think you're okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
that's
can go
fine.
back out to public hearing afterwards for the
I'll take the
3-hour.
counselor's advice. I'll
Yeah.
take the counselor's
No,
advice.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, that's from a legal point. If there's other
Okay.
reasons, that's other.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, so why don't we
So what's the motion? To close the public hearing?
Yeah, and then when we put the resolution of adoption on, we just.
It'll be modified.
Yeah, just adopt.
Is everybody here on the board okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Second
Thanks.
that, closing the public hearing needs to be
Who's
seconded.
the second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 5th public hearing?
Certainly. Public hearing number 5, to consider amending Town Code 330-210, miscellaneous provisions of Article 22, signs, as it relates to the placement of signs.
At this time, as I have recused myself from this, I'm currently a candidate for New York State Assembly, so I'm recused.
Don't go far.
Yeah, text me when you're done.
Who's introducing this? Anybody here?
I'm actually introducing this to my legislation. Currently, in the village of Westhampton Beach, property owners may display a maximum of 2 political signs no larger than 4 square feet in size for no more than 60 days. No signs are permitted on public property or public rights of way. In the village of Quogue, a non-commercial message, which includes any message which constitutes constitutionally protected free speech may be placed on a sign which meets all other requirements of the sign code other than the message. In the village of Southampton, political signs may only be displayed on privately owned property for no more than 70 days prior to an election or 10 days after an election. They must be placed entirely off of the village right-of-way. In the village of Sagaponack, political signs not exceeding 2 per lot or 4 square feet in size each are exempt from permits and fees. No sign other than a sign erected by a governmental agency shall be erected or placed within the right-of-way lines of any public street. In the village of Sag Harbor, no sign may be erected without a permit, and in no case may a sign other than a sign erected by a governmental agency be erected or placed within the right-of-way lines of any public street. In the village of North Haven, political signs are not listed as a permitted sign, and signs made of impermanent materials are prohibited. Several weeks ago, after reviewing these village codes and wanting to provide some relief to our hamlets, I held a work session on the regulation of political signs on residential properties. While I did not propose limiting the number of signs that may be placed, I did propose limiting the size of signs to 32 square feet. That would be a 4-foot by 8-foot sign. I also proposed limiting the allowable time frame to 90 days with removable 14 days after the election. After reducing the allowable time frame to 60 days at Councilman Pell's request, I put forward a resolution for a public hearing which failed for lack of a second. That brings us to the legislative intent of this public hearing. With respect to Town Code 330-210A, I am simply seeking to clarify that while political signs are exempt from permits and fees, the posting of political signs, as with all other signs on town properties and town rights of way, remain a violation. I am quite amazed by the pushback I have received for this clarification, which makes it even more apparent why it is needed. One would think with all of the environmental initiatives this town has put forward and passed, including the banning of plastic bags and drinking straws, limiting single-use plastic political signs would be supported, not fought. And I just ask Jim Burke to support me on the fact that this is already the law. I'm just clarifying it because it's so abused.
You mean like under
They're already not permitted in town rights of way.
330-210, right? It just says no
So
sign.
everything you just said about the villages applies equally to the town. The town law already says no sign other than one erected by a governmental agency or awnings and canopies shall be erected or placed in the public right-of-way.
Right.
So it's very clear, and I don't know why we had to even engage in this exercise. The town law prohibits any sign in the right-of-way, any sign. And, we don't need, in my opinion, I don't know why we need to go through the exercise of having the code changed, especially in light of the fact that we're undergoing a complete sign code revision, which we talked about in connection with the Hampton-based pattern book adoption. So we're going to be changing everything about the sign code. Why cherry pick little things along the way?
Should we go to public comment?
I kind of agree with the supervisor, what she's saying. I don't particularly care for these signs either, but it's already in our town law, 330-2121. It says no other signs erected in the government by a government agent or permitted under should be erected within the right of way. I feel what this is doing, just put another piece of red tape. That's what we want. More red tape in our laws so that people can't understand it. Just put another law on it. People won't understand it. We have more problems than these signs. She should be looking at how to enforce it. More police, more code enforcement. Not making another red tape, another law on top of a law. We got enough file cabinets full of laws that no one does anything about, So I think just a waste of time, and that we should look on other avenues to enforce it.
So on how to enforce it, Highway Department has been directed, any sign on any area that they mow gets removed. CPF properties, any sign on a CPF property or a town-owned property or a county-owned property gets removed. Any sign that is not on private property gets removed. If it is in the median of a roadway, it gets removed. If it is at five corners, which is all town-owned property, they get removed. And so I'm clarifying this because this became such a big issue because, I mean, we've had political leaders, we've had all kinds of people that are upset by this. Clarification of the law because it has been abused for so long that, yes, I felt it needed clarification. So even if this passes, it's on for resolution of adoption tonight. I'm just going to finish. It's on for resolution for adoption tonight because we are not changing the law. We are simply clarifying it because it's been abused for too long. And I felt like, you know what, even if it doesn't pass, I'm fine with that because now everybody knows the law.
In that case,
That's
we
right.
should clarify the speeding law on County Road 39. Okay? You wouldn't,
You know,
I
it's
mean,
sorry.
it's the guy right there. He picks up people in his vehicle. He's an ambulance driver. How many times he has to go there? I think we should have another law on that. This is what I'm objected to, more red tape for the town.
It's not red tape, it's clarification.
If the language were at all unclear, I would agree with you, but it's so clear, no sign may be placed in the town right of way.
But it's not clear
It's
because
just an
people have been
unnecessary
arguing that political signs are exempt and they are not exempt from their placement.
That's because when you first proposed it, it was under the premise that they were not prohibited.
The
And
first bill
I was
iteration did
I
have
was
that.
asking for a resolution of, I was looking to limit them on residential properties, which obviously didn't go anywhere. So now it's down to clarifying the right of ways.
Well, I do have a card, so let's hear from
Can I just
anybody
ask
in
Jim
the.
one question on this?
Of course.
What's your take on it? You're the town attorney. I went to your office and they gave me this.
Well, the question
Do
was,
you want another piece of paper to do?
no, the question was, as is, the 33210, does it cover political signs? Yes, it does. I mean, it's up to you. If the council person wants to try to, if he thinks it's clear to have it with this language in it, I mean, that's up to the board to decide. But it clearly, as I agree with the council person and what the supervisor said, is that the provision as it stands would include the prohibition of political signs in the right of way.
It's just every time you change the law, you have to send it to the state. They have to print everything for the code books, and it just seems like it's not a necessary step to put people through when it's already clear.
Especially when the issue at hand is enforcement. I think what we're hearing from the communities, civic organizations and CACs, is that we need to sort of wrestle with how do we actually enforce the existing law.
And we have to be even-handed about it.
So,
Sure.
but we should go to the go to the public.
There's only one card. It's George Lynch. Would you still like to speak tonight?
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
George, you have.
Oh, he withdraws. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to speak? All right, let's bring him in.
Hi, Pamela Harwood again. Again, I want to thank Councilmember Iacilli for giving us the heads up about this resolution so we could discuss it last night at our board meeting. I want to thank Councilmember McNamara for sending me the exact wording of the resolution. And I agree with what everybody's saying tonight, strangely enough. The way we feel about all the signage, Councilmember Pell, I do not think it's a small issue. The community does not think it's a small issue. The proliferation of illegal advertising signs has become a blight in our community. It's clutter. It's, to use the words of one of the staff of the town, it's garbage, and it's a big issue. Now, it may be that the code already says that these signs are illegal, but believe me, everybody thinks they're legal because they're so They're everywhere, and the town does nothing to take them down. So if it's already illegal, why has the town never swept them out? You know, you could go with a truck, the highway department could go with a truck and every morning just pick them up and throw them out. No, that's never been done. They're allowed to stay up. So it gives the public the impression that it's legal. And I myself, forever, until this came up, actually thought they were legal and immune. And when I read the code, by the way, it was a little confusing to me because it started saying the political signs were exempt. And it took me a while to realize what they were saying was on private property.
Well, no, what it's saying is they're exempt from fees and permit requirements.
I read that part, but it was also, trust me, I was confused, and I'm pretty savvy on all this stuff, having been at this for a while. I was a little confused. The other thing, when I used to talk to Jay Schneiderman about this, I would say, really, can we clean up these illegal signs on the easements? And he would say, oh, well, you know, except for the charity events, you know, and I go, no, they're not exempt. They're part of it too. So there hasn't been a will on the part of the town board, I don't think, to, you know, clean these things up. As Mr. Pell says, this is about enforcement. I wouldn't mind not changing the code as it exists if we enforced it, but we don't enforce it. And I think one of the reasons Councilmember McNamara probably wants to clarify it is that a lot of people do think they're legal because they're allowed to stay up, and I sympathize with that. I think I agree with Mr. Pell that, you know, maybe we don't need another law if it's already on the books and with Supervisor Moore, but it's not enforced. Why are you not enforcing it? I've also heard it say that this is weird timing because we have an election coming up to you know, bring this out, but maybe it's good timing because it's during an election when all the signs that go up where people see them and how many of them there are. So in closing, all I can say is however you decide to go on this, it also gives us a little bit of pause when we hear
30
you say
seconds.
that when we hear you say that you want to revamp the entire signage code. The signage code is very complete, and I fear that perhaps because you don't have the manpower to enforce all these codes, maybe you want to dilute them. I hope you're not intending to do that. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, certainly not to dilute, but
But to Pamela's point and to Bill's point, I did get, when I put forward the last public hearing notice, did get a lot of people emailing me that why was I trying to make political signs exempt on the roadways because they remind people to vote and so on and so forth. And I also just got an email today, please don't change the law, let people put their signs on the road. So people still think it's legal. So
I will say, oddly enough, in West Hampton Beach, where it's you know, the code is similar, no signs in the right of way, our building inspector, the prior building inspector, would tell code enforcement, don't pick them up. They're only there for a couple months. So, you know, some people feel like, well, it's political speech, it's free speech, just leave it alone. So, I mean, even if the code is clear, you can't do it.
well, we're going to be picking them up.
People are going to do it, and you know, some people.
I wonder, do individuals have the right to pick them up for you? If code enforcement is not picking all these illegal signs up, if the highway department's not picking them up, we were told that we were allowed to pick them up, that the public is allowed to.
They're not on private property.
On the easements.
I don't know,
Hey,
Jim,
Jim.
you'd have to answer
Not
that.
on private property, I mean on the public
Can a
easements.
private person, the public, pick them up off the right of way and throw them away?
I know people who do that. Yeah,
They're not on
right,
private property.
Not there.
yeah, you probably, I mean, who would have a, sure, I mean,
Just like picking up soda cans and garbage
Sure,
when they
right,
walk up
yeah,
and down the
yeah.
street.
yeah. I've known people
So
who
that
have,
kind of answers your question. I know it. If I came across it, it's a little problem. It is a big
Yeah,
problem. I
yeah.
don't like the signs myself. I live by 5 corners, and a couple weeks ago there were like 10 signs there. Now there's only 4 signs there. You know, they came through and picked them up.
Mhm.
But
It shouldn't be up to the public,
Pamela.
it should be up to the town.
Yeah.
Pamela.
It should be up to the town, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
you're
okay,
the
yeah.
new board members.
Thank you.
And the new board members they want to clean it up. They want to clean the whole town
Yeah.
up.
So like I said, pass it or not, we're going to pick up the signs. So we can
If
close
we
it.
want to put it in when we do the whole sign code, but since we're going to embark on that whole thing, I just feel like it's no sense doing anything piecemeal.
It's okay, they're going to be picked up. So everyone's on notice that they're not exempt. And they're gonna get picked up. They've never been picked up. The town has never picked them up, so they're gonna be picked up.
Well,
I think the town has
maybe the
to.
town doesn't do it because the same reason the village didn't do it, I don't know.
So we can close this, move on.
All right, so, no one, oh, we have one
Wait,
more person.
one other.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, to bring Tommy John back in, but not yet.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, me again, Meredith Berkowitz. Also on behalf of the Bridgehampton Civic Association, I apologize for the weird lighting. I'm in a car. I just wanted to reiterate some of the points, which the code, I'm an attorney by trade, and I did take a look at the code. I do think the code adequately already restricts all signs from the public easements, but I do think this is, as others have mentioned, a problem of code enforcement, and that, you know, there's no enforcement happening. And I would rather see that than a code amendment that just mentions political signs, because honestly, in Bridgehampton, for example, our biggest problem is not the political signs, but all the charitable organizations and businesses that are putting their signs in the easements. It's literally like like a flag thing, one after another, along our roadways. And I think that is if we just amend it to, if the town were to just amend it to mention and clarify the political signs, I fear that people will just reinforce for others, like the businesses and the charitable organizations that are posting their signs, that they're okay to do it. And I think that that's concerning. The other thing I wanted to talk about was what was mentioned about free speech, because if the concern, and I would love to hear from town council on this, from the actual council, the lawyer, what that issue is, because if it is free speech and the town is concerned that not allowing these signs on the public easements are an infringement on free speech, then private citizens can't really pick that up either and take them off. And so I think that maybe before any legislation is adopted or proposed, that the town might want to delve into that issue a little bit and reach a legal conclusion on whether not the town's actual restriction on any signs in the easement is in fact an impingement somehow on free speech or not. Because if it's not, and I suspect it's probably not, because otherwise how did the amendment get passed, how did the code provision get passed in the first place, then we should just be enforcing it as written, and there needs to be better code enforcement rather than, you know, legislative amendment. My 2 cents. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have one more card, Kathy Cruel.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Cruel. I didn't know anything about this sign was going to be on here, so I just put a card in. We have a problem in Flanders right now with signs, which I'm really happy that this came up because it clarifies a lot. There's Fisher signs have been put up all over in Flanders, and they're not stick in the ground signs. They're huge wooden signs. They're on the outside of the fencing for these properties. That's on town property, but when code was called, we were told that they're allowed to put them out there. So they're on town property. Are you allowed to just put a wooden sign in the ground on town property? How come they haven't been removed?
So what you should do is, we have something called SOS. Our recommendation would be to,
It's Southampton Online Solutions.
yeah, it's just a recommendation.
Kathy's very familiar with Google.
Doesn't do it.
Okay.
I'll
Didn't
find
help.
out tomorrow for you.
Didn't help. We were told that.
Give me a call after lunch.
All
There
right,
you
we were told they were put on, they're put on their property.
Yeah.
But if it's on the outside of their fence, many people in the communities don't understand that about 10 foot of your property in front of your house does not belong to you. It belongs to the town. And we're having fences put up on them. We're having people building things on them because they consider we cut the grass, it belongs to us.
Even
No, it is.
when I read this, if I'm right, Jim, those signs, what they're talking about, they even have to have permits.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, there's a provision in the code dealing with real estate signs, and
no,
you
they're
can
not
have.
real estate signs. They're like
Well,
they're
no, he's saying
it's-
Fisher.
Yeah,
Is he
It's
real
not
estate?
real
No?
estate. It's
Oh.
just his name.
Oh, just an advertising
They
sign again.
rent-
Oh yeah,
rent
no,
piece
they
of
shouldn't be.
property, you know.
Yeah,
And
if
they
he
were
just
all
has an
over.
advertising sign on it, he shouldn't. You're right. Those should be.
I mean, that's just an example of stuff that's all over in our community.
No, I've seen it. I've seen some of the signs. I wasn't sure if it was.
I'll call him.
I don't know if it was I don't know if he was advertising that particular property for sale or not. You know,
No.
typically, you're allowed to do that for, you know, a certain period of time.
No, not in front of every single house.
No, right, no.
I mean, right-of-ways vary in size. You don't know exactly. It could be between 5 and 10 feet, but, you know,
Yeah,
depending
well,
on where you are.
you usually put your fence on your property line, and it's way out here
Depends.
on the outside of the fence. Well, I'm not even gonna go there. I survey with my husband on Saturdays. We've seen some of them
Yeah.
going 50 feet into their neighbor's property. So
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that because I called and I was told, no, that's on, I said, well, how come the highway department hasn't taken these down? And they said, oh, no, because they're allowed to have that there. It's on their
Give me a
property.
call after lunch tomorrow, and I'll find
You're
out.
probably thinking the same thing.
Okay.
You're probably thinking it's
Thanks, Kathy. Thank you.
advertising for sale.
That's it then. No more, Kevin on Zoom?
I'll move to close.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Get Tommy John back.
Tommy John, you can come back.
When we get to my resolution, I'll withdraw, so he doesn't have to leave again.
Do you want me to?
So when we get to my resolution, I'll withdraw it, so he doesn't have to leave again.
So you don't have to do what again?
So he doesn't have to leave again. Just want everybody to know that.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you, I worked with Brian on amending the special event permits so that those signs have to be removed with the previous event. Because right now it says
For him.
should, not shall.
Right. Okay, well, thank you for that. Is Tommy John coming back?
I just text him.
We're working on that.
Yeah, there's letters that are gonna go out to the community. I saw your message to Marion.
They should be going out next week.
Is Tommy John here?
There he is. Well, that was very civil. Okay.
Welcome.
Just in time for public portion, Councilman Yvonne.
Wouldn't miss it.
All right. I've got a lot of cards here, so I want to remind everyone that it's 3 minutes. Please stick to the time because a lot of people want to speak and we want to be fair to everyone. The clerk will alert you when you have 30 seconds left, and then when the 3 minutes are up, please, take your seat. If there's something you want to submit in writing, feel free to do that. All right, and I will announce the person next up so you can be on deck, so we can save some time there. The first speaker is Gail Murcott, and after her, Angela, you know.
Good evening. My name is Gail Murcott. I think you all know that from Hampton Groves. And I just want to speak tonight on the Westwoods property. I believe that some of the nation here is here to talk about their land and their rights. And I just want to say that I do not believe, there are a lot of us that do not believe. We've had many meetings, we've done much research, and I do not believe that this is Aboriginal land, Westwoods. And we would like to make sure that the town protects that property. Our property borders that property. We've lived there for 92 years, not me personally, but my family. And what's going on there is just the destruction of that property is just not to be believed. And as I said, we do not believe that it is their property at all. And we would like the town to in fact stop the destruction of that property because it's only going to get worse, not better. That's what we believe. So thank you very much for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you. All right, Angela is up, and then after her, Lynn Murcott.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, good
Hello.
evening,
Angela.
Supervisor and members of the board. My name is Angela Yunalt. I'm the president of Flanders, Riverside, Northampton Community Association. Happy Tuesday. We would like to thank you, all of you, for a better summer that we had at Wildwood Lake. Your support for the no parking signs truly helped. As the president of Franca, I would like to bring up some concerns that were mentioned last Wednesday evening. Biggest concern is enforcement. It's great that we have these signs. We were bluntly told at the beginning of the summer by the chief that they will not tow, even though the sign says, if you park here, you'll be towed. That kind of ricocheted a little bit too, because it was our phone calls that would be made by the community asking, for vehicles that were there without permits to be ticketed. It's our discretion, which, I mean, funny, if I'm going 45 and a 40, I love their discretion. But it just kept piling up for the summer, not just at the lake, but at Wildwood, at Ludlam Park, where parties were going on. And you called for an officer to come, and what I'm finding out, because I asked a few officers, is they actually don't know all the codes, or all. Like, they'll see a piece of paper that says, I have a permit to be here, and the officer's like, there's nothing I can do, they have a permit. But that goes with a lot more rules. No amplified music, no tents. I mean, I have it memorized because I use it, which I thank you, because soon you might be waiving my fees for the trunk or treat event that we hold every year. I know that on Tuesday, you'll be going over the budget. We would like to support more finances to go to Parks and Rec, if it would provide more attendance. The attendant that we had over the summer back at Wildwood Lake was great. Having him park in the front in the beginning would be awesome. He parked in the back, but still his presence there was great. We would like for more funding to go towards the Southampton Town Police, provided now we see officers. We kind of need them too during the summer. I watched a couple of meetings ago, a gentleman from Watermill.
30 seconds.
A person from Watermill. So we're all feeling it, so we know we need more enforcement. They need to know what the codes need to be enforced. The signs need to be enforced. The laws need to be enforced. Okay, thank you, Supervisor, for accepting our invite to be our guest speaker on October 16th. The board is, of course, invited also to that meeting. I know there was more, but thank you. Quick, I think I have maybe 10 seconds.
3 minutes.
Oh, never mind.
But
Okay.
Angela,
wait.
just for a moment, you mentioned a couple of things, and I know you're trying to squeeze it into 3 minutes. The town board really did commit to Wildwood Lake this summer. We had a beach attendant there for the summer and increased police presence. Generally, what our police do is ticket cars, and in as much as towing them away is probably preferable to you all. But we don't do that in the other beaches either. Just so you know, we don't have a tow truck, like on staff ready to go unless it's really egregious, because that's pretty egregious to tow someone's car away. But we do ticket, and we did put a lot of effort, as into Wildwood Lake this summer.
Oh, yes,
So
absolutely.
there's going to be more meetings with that, and I know
Yes.
there's folks in the community now
Yeah.
who are going to be speaking.
And we'll talk
Okay.
more about that, but
Right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Lynn Murcott, and then Henry Zabrowski. All right, is Henry here? Yes. And after Henry, Randy King.
Hi, good evening. I'm Henry Zabrowski, and recently retired to this hamlet of Flanders. I'm actually living near Silverbrook Canal, so Tommy John, I appreciate your efforts in trying to get the CPF to acquire area around Silverbrook Canal in order to remediate that space. I'm sure Bill's familiar with it from his efforts on the trustees. Oh, okay. My family's been in this region for about 150 years, and as Carla alluded to earlier, we grew up in Seattle, but after having a career working at Rockefeller University and doing science in the city, small molecule therapeutics, vaccine design, I'm thrilled to be retiring into the area where my great-great-grandparents lived, and so I'm real happy to be here. I appreciate all of your efforts. But I'm here to talk about some issues that I've recently encountered in Flanders that I think are concerning. The prior police chief, rest his soul, was kind enough to see that he was willing to make Flanders a priority for police enforcement. We have a couple of officers that are dedicated to the area. I think there needs to be more. And we need to hustle up our effort to acquire those officers. We may not be able to wait for people to come out of the academy. We might have to just go and create incentives to hire experienced officers. I think that it seems like everything comes back to an enforcement issue, but without uniformed police officers, people are just going to look at representatives of the town with a non-starter attitude. They'll look at them and go, it doesn't matter to me what you have to say. And I think that's wrong. And really, sadly, in this day and age, the only thing people are paying attention to is a badge. And it would be better if we just have more police doing the enforcement tasks to be able to deal with these issues of parking enforcement or code enforcement. I also know that I'm familiar with some of the code enforcement people that have come through our area, and it seems like they're not empowered. And I ask you, Madam Supervisor, to empower these people with your leadership, to direct them to be able to enforce these code violations.
30 seconds.
Move forward with that. We also have a lot of issues with parking overnight, not just personal private vehicles, but commercial vehicles. And I see no effort on the part of the police department to be issuing tickets or impounding, as the signs say, the official signs from the town. So that needs to be addressed in a big way.
3 minutes.
All right. Now, I'd just like to be able to wrap up by saying I really appreciate your effort, Jim, in having a young man like Alex come forward and look at maybe some antiquated verbiage in our town code and address that. I think that's a very valid thing for young students to do, and I'm thrilled to see that, and I'd love to see it in more departments across the town.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
Thank you.
And Alex, thanks for his effort. If he's still here.
Gotta go home and do his homework.
In next year's budget, we are gonna hire new police officers.
All right. So Randy
Okay.
King is next, and after him,
You
Alan
heard it here first.
Kirkowski.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Randy King, former tribal chairman of the Shinnecock Nation, immediate past vice chairman, and currently a tribe member. Supervisor Moore, Council Member Iacilli, I'd like to thank you for coming to Shinnecock prior to your election, and you came with a group of folks, and you sought to learn about Shinnecock, and you sought to figure out, find out who we are, and we explained all of the challenges that we have in our community, such as substandard housing, which is passed down for many generations that live in their homes, with mold remediation, and having the struggle to pay for adequate health care and make payroll for people that are currently right now performing very, very important services within our community. But that was not the complete case. We also explained how the Affordable Health Care Act and CARES Act funding, COVID funding, made huge strides in our community to better prepare us for the next pandemic. And mark my words, it's coming. And how our community better prepared to be partners throughout the entire community. So, it's with dismay that I hear, this remark that, that our land is not our land. I encourage you, some of the past discussion I've heard is that you're thinking of hiring an attorney, and maybe you're past that, maybe you aren't, I'm not sure. But I would encourage you to hire an attorney. I think it's a great idea. It's the steps that you take with that attorney after you've hired that attorney. That attorney will find that we are the most documented tribe in America. Our history spans like generations, decades, centuries. And if you see the conflicts going on in the world around you today, our conflict with holding our land, the little bit of land that we have, it meets the take for instance Wikipedia, and this isn't coming from me, and I really don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but Wikipedia says the Israeli and Palestinian conflicts has origins in 1882. Our conflict started prior to 1640, you know, and 1703, 1859, and now. I was around during the whole casino issue during the mid-2000s. I've seen how our tribe sought to say, all right, we're not going to do a casino here in Southampton.
30 seconds.
We'll modify it. We'll start at Aqueduct and work our way back eastward. We signed a letter with former Congressman Tim Bishop to not develop past 104 with a sunset letter. So we've always been the one to meet the burden of having to change, you know, for the greater community. But this time, we need to get this project going, and we need to take care of our community. So thank you for listening to me, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For coming tonight. What did you say before?
I apologize for my excitement jumping up too early. Good evening, Madam Supervisor, Town Board, our lawyer, our commissioner. I'm sorry.
Hello, Alan.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear what you've heard from other people. We live next door to the park,
Wildwood Lake.
Wildwood Lake. Some of what you've done has been beautiful. The signs went up, they had to be changed. An attendant was there, but he sat on the beach. People's car drove up and they got dropped off, and then they went and parked where there was no signs. It's funny that the signs was mentioned this evening. It's your signs, our signs, which the taxpayers are paying for. It's being neglected. Law enforcement comes up with a lot of excuses. It's up to their discretion with one of them, whether the car is towed or not. Our tow one or two, the word gets out real fast. We went on vacation this year and we received phone calls that there were cars parking in our yard, right next door. That's nice of you. Yes, it's real great to have law enforcement, but when they come there and they give us excuses that they can't do their job, it's useless. It's a waste of time. Parking attendants, we do thank you for. I was the one that came before you last time I spoke to you, and I asked you, if you have a meeting over there or anything, come knock on my door. I'm one of your neighbors that knows what's going on over there. I see what's going on over there. A lot of times, we don't even know what's going on over there. There's no one there right now, and they haven't been there for the last 3 months that I know of. What's going on, folks? You're not telling your neighbors. We're the neighbors. Code enforcement, please. We need more of it. Give some more power to that guy that's parking, the 18-year-old kid that tries to chase people out of there. Give him a little bit more enforcement. He calls and he doesn't get responses. I personally call the state police, because then the patrol has to explain to the chief the next day why the state police were there. The one time I called them, they took somebody away in handcuffs. Yes, went away in handcuffs because the state police were over there. My big mouth went over there and says, oh, gee, now the big boys are here, we're having something done.
30 seconds.
Sergeant stood right there and kind of laughed at me a little bit in the Southampton town. I do thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to us. We would like to come here every month and talk to you.
Thank you, Alex. Beverly Prokowski, you're up next. And after Beverly, Halsted, Wells.
Thank you, Town Supervisor and Board. I'm sure you don't want to hear this over and over, but
Beverly, just state your name for the record.
Oh, Beverly Prokowski. I am the person who lives with this gentleman right next door to the what was old bowling alley, and now is becoming a church, and we have not seen a thing going on there, so we would like to know. But I'm not here for myself right now tonight. I'm here for another FICA member who lives next to Ludlam Park. whose family donated that land. This woman is being mentally abused by the town and the cops ignoring her. I have it right here where it says, when you fill out an application to have a party or whatever you're having at that park, it right here says DJs, bands, musical instruments of any type of amplified sound system are not allowed. This poor woman has called, I can't tell you how many times the police, they come and say, nothing we can do because they have a permit. They don't know the rules and regulations. This poor woman also is being abused with people who are climbing up on those playgrounds and looking straight into her bedroom, into her daughter's bedroom. This is ridiculous. No one should have to go through this type of abuse of listening to sound. I have a niece and nephew who live on Pebble Way, which is right down the road from there. I've received phone calls from them. What the, I won't even use the word, is going on? The music is so loud. It's after 9 o'clock. They've called the police to say they have a permit. These police are not doing their job. I'm sorry. This has got to stop. This woman is abused. She can't even live in her own house with peace. I mean, every weekend, the music is out there. They have huge tents out there. I don't know how many people. It's got to stop. It's not in the permit to do this, so why is it being allowed to be done? This woman needs help. It's not fair. Thank you.
Thanks, we will look into that. Thank you. Okay, Halsted, and after that is Roger Moore's.
So you know that Parks and Rec is aware of this, and they did go out and take a look at the park and that individual's house. There is a hedgerow in front of the house, and so Kristen is well aware of that situation.
They're supposed to be planting some big trees next month.
Well, the trees are pretty healthy and they're pretty thick. Yeah, you can come on. But so you know, Kristen is on it.
Oh, good. Good to know. Hello?
Halsted, is that?
Yep.
Yes. What's your last name? Wells?
Last name is Wells. I have a very brief statement in support of the Shinnecock's. I'm not sure what the issues are with this particular project, but I think the nation, the culture needs to be treated as a treasure. However the decisions are made, there's the suppression is, as was pointed out, since 1640, oppressed, abused. It's time to turn the page, treat them as a treasure, and make it work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Roger Morse, followed by Larissa.
Roger left.
Oh, he did. Okay. Is Larissa here? And after Larissa, well, I don't know. Derek Stein. That's all I guess.
My name is Larissa Potapchuk, and I'm here to support the rights of the Shinnecock Nation to have a gas station on their land, yet also to acknowledge community concerns and neighboring concerns for access to this property. Ideally, I was here to say that the town should not take the money and hire a lawyer and go through an extensive legal battle. Instead, to mediate and facilitate discussions and options as to come up with the best option to have access to this property. Mr. King obviously knows more than I do about his community, but I still believe instead of a lengthy and time-consuming battle, the most effective approach and access point to this gas station would be on the highway. Oh, but now the state's involved, so of course it would be a win for the town to come up with a solution acknowledging Shinnecock rights, acknowledging neighborhood concerns, and have the access point on Route 27. Then the town could go toward the state and present this option, dealing of course with all the next steps that would be needed between mediation between the town, the county, and possibly the county and the state. But it would be seen as a collaborative solution. And that's my belief. We don't need any more expensive lawyers. We don't need any lengthy battle. We all have concerns. This might be the right thing. The neighbors will not be informed, will not be bothered by development and many cars going on their way. Thank you.
Is Derek here? Oh, and after that, Marguerite Smith.
Hi, good evening. My name is Derek Stein. I'm here tonight on behalf of Erase Racism, a statewide civil rights organization based on Long Island. And we're here just to speak in support of the Shinnecock Indian Nation and their rights to develop this property and that they own it. They have owned it for thousands of years, and documented ownership has gone back to at least 1845 in the research I was doing. And, you know, they real recently, of course, have been this case of a lawsuit at the state level where the state has not been able to, they were able to build the billboard, the Shinnecock Memorial Monument there on the property as well. So to me and to Erase Racism, our perspective is that the town should not hire an attorney to draw this out into a dispute. It will be a costly dispute. It will be a divisive dispute, and it will not do right by either the Shinnecock Indian Nation or the town by spending perhaps upwards of $150,000 on an attorney to make this into a lawsuit. Instead, the town should work collaboratively. I'm sorry, I have like laryngitis going, so I'm finally better now, but the town should work collaboratively with the nation to get this, to encourage economic development, to encourage and work on providing support for housing, providing economic development, and should continue the good relationship that I think there had been some progress on, and not take this step back. So thank you, and I hope you all do the right thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marguerite, and after Marguerite, it's Karen Hunter.
Good evening, all. Thank you. I'm an attorney, so I have to speak up in support of hiring attorneys because sometimes attorneys can be useful when our goal is to help parties to express what their needs are. We're not always there to fight. We're often there to resolve disputes. So, just a plug for my profession. I am a Shinnecock. I remember one of my earliest memories of activism in Shinnecock was watching my grandmother have to go to the city, to go to court, to protect our land. And so I guess that's my route to, the beginnings of my route to being a lawyer. I am concerned, and I've had the opportunity recently to work with the high school on developing a history course. And I think one of the things that struck me was about that process was that I'm not sure there's a local history course taught in this district or related districts. Because if there were a local history course, everybody would know there's a Shinnecock Nation that's been here for thousands and thousands of years. If there were a good local history course, you'd know where we have resided. You would know that we are still here. You'd know more about our culture. You know about our attachment to the land, our commitment to environmental protection, our commitment to health and safety for our people. People would know that. And so this would not all come as a surprise. This would come as a simple continuum of doing what we're supposed to do. And I'm wondering if those who are fighting the gas station now are going to drive by that gas station to pay more money once it's constructed. Anyway, very simply, it's our land. We intend to protect it. I do pray that our people will continue to take into account all of the things that need to be accounted for in this day and age. We have to be concerned about environmental protection. We have to be concerned about traffic. My goodness, this summer was horrible for those of us who live on the res, fearing every day that something would happen and we wouldn't be able to get to the hospital on time because of the horrible traffic and the inability as yet for the village to figure out how to allow traffic routes to flow freely for those of us who are local residents.
30
who have been local
seconds.
residents, as our parents, our grandparents, our grandparents, our grandparents before them. So I say to you all, be glad that we're here, just as we're trying to learn that you're here and what your needs and desires are. But stop. The invisibility ends. We have been invisible, we have been silent. But I believe that time is over. I think it's time now that our people are wanting to stand up and enjoy some of the benefits that others have found themselves able to take advantage of in this area.
3
Before
minutes.
it's all gone. Enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Karen Hunter, and after Karen, Gordell Wright.
Good evening, everyone. Karen Hunter here from the Shinnecock Nation. Marguerite, as always, I just want to say thank you for your incredible words of wisdom and such pearls of inspiration. I'm here because I came in late and I truly want to apologize, but it appeared that on your agenda, I think in part 3, there was going to be discussion about emails and letters that you've received. And I'm wondering if you've been through that portion of your meeting, if you did have letters or emails that spoke regarding the Shinnecock. And if you have them now, could you read them into the record if you haven't done so already? Thank you. Bill, your comment on clarification on the speed limit on Highway 39, I got you back on that one. That wasn't requested, you have.
I don't believe we have those with us. We just have a summary of what was received, but they are part of the record.
They're part of the record. They've been received in the town clerk's office. Everything that is received by my office, we distribute to the entire town board, the town attorney's office, and any appropriate departments that are involved in letters that have been received. I do not carry them with me. They're on file downstairs with many other things that I receive throughout the course of our duties. So if anyone wants to review them, they can certainly come to my office at any time while we're open for business to look at those.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Right, Gordell Wright.
Good evening. My name is Gordell Wright, former trustee of the Shinnecock Nation. Let's start with number 1. I know a lot of people like to say, oh, I've done the research for 85 years, it's not Aboriginal land. Let's start from number 1. The majority of the town of Southampton is on stolen land. From colonial times to state law to federal law, if you really want to follow that, then you know that the majority of the town of Southampton is stolen land and still rightfully belongs to the Shinnecock Nation. I don't care if you lived there for 100 years, 150 years. What's stolen is stolen and belongs to the true people of where it came from. So we talk about being good neighbors, but every time we turn around and want to do something for our people, we get opposition. We get lawyers against us. If you want to sit down and you want to really be good neighbors with us, which we have been since 1640, then sit down and really be good neighbors, not hire an attorney to go against us while sitting in our community and say, we want to work with you. If you really want to work with us, then work with us, and not hire attorneys to fight against us. We've been good neighbors ever since colonial times, since people have stepped foot on our lands. And that's undisputed that we have been. And every time we turn around, oh, why don't you be good neighbors? Why don't you? No, Why don't you start to be good neighbors? Why don't you stop fighting us on everything that we do? Unfortunately, we have to live in this world where money dictates how you survive. So as a nation that has been pretty much taking everything from us, this is the world we live in. So that, as such, we have to do certain things so that we can survive as a nation in this world, in this economy. And that's what we're doing for our people. Every time we do something, everybody says, well, how's it going to impact your surrounding communities? Well, when have you asked how all these developments impact our community, our waterways, our woods? When have you sat down and said, how does this impact you? Never. So if you want to be good neighbors, start with that. Start with all these developments on the canal and everywhere you go. We talk about traffic. Well, the traffic's there because of all the development. We don't pass those laws. We don't give those approvals. You guys do. So take a step back. We do a sign on a highway. Oh, no, you can't do that. It's going to cause many accidents. How many accidents happened since the sign's been up?
30 seconds.
Every time we do something, oh, you can't do that. It's gonna. What about the environment? What about the surrounding community? And we've always been good stewards of this land. But as I said, unfortunately, we have to live in this world, and it takes money to take care of our nation. So there's limited options that we have. So I'm asking you right now that if you want to be good neighbors, then be good neighbors. Sit down with us and actually really discuss solutions and not hire a lawyer to fight us.
3 minutes.
It's simple. It's simple. We have to live in this world side by side. Are we gonna continue to fight each other because you want to control what we do, what we don't do? Or are we really gonna live side by side with respect with one another and see where that takes us? That's all I have to say.
Well, we have had meetings, and we have meetings coming up, just so you know. All right, the last speaker is Lance Gums. Vice Chairperson Lance Gums.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, Supervisor, you, Councilman.
Iacilli.
Iacilli. I can never get that.
It's okay.
And Town Attorney Jim Burke for coming up to Shinnecock and having a conversation with us on this situation. You know, when we look at it, and I was a little insulted tonight to sit there and listen to the lady talk about how long her people have been in Hampton Bays. I mean, it's insulting to have somebody say, oh, we've been here for 50 years, we've been here for 100 years, we've been here for 10,000 years. And what you said tonight about looking at our property and where we are at, our people, you know, as Gordell said, our people have been that good neighbor. I wonder if your family, when they moved here that 100 years ago, asked our people if we minded you building next to us. I don't think you did. I don't think they did. You know. So I'm talking to you, but you know, it's insulting to listen to people. I saw the previous comments that were made from the town board meeting the week that we were having our powwow, and to listen to the rhetoric that people have been spewing about the gas station, our economic development. I guess maybe the only way that things can be approved or done is if it's done by the town or the state. We're not good stewards, I guess. You know, we're not capable of having officials come out and look at our property and do the right things. When we had the discussion, you know, there was a lot of discussion about who's going to supervise it, who's going to monitor it, who's going to look at it. And we said clearly that we're going to have federal oversight over the property. We're going to have
we're following federal laws to govern the gas station, the construction of it, and how it's going to operate. So all I'm going to say right now is hopefully the conversations can continue in a productive way with the town. We are not going to stop construction on the gas station. It is going to go up, and we look forward to having further conversations with you on how we can cohesively talk and move forward. You asked us a number of questions at the meeting.
30 seconds.
We were able to answer some of them. We said that we would be happy to have a joint working group. That's the word. A joint working group with you, and we still are. So I hope that these discussions can continue. I hope that we can come to some understanding that the Shinnecock Nation is a government, and we are not below the town of Southampton. We are not below the state of New York, as I told the governor several weeks ago when we met with the governor. Under the United States Constitution, it says Congress has plenary power over foreign governments, states, and Indian tribes, which means we are the equal to the state of New York. So in sitting down and talking with us and having these conversations, we look forward to having a government-to-government relationship, government-to-government discussions with you. And I do hope that in this next meeting, the whole town board will come so that we can have these open and frank discussions about where Shinnecock is going. Because this is just the beginning of what we plan on doing to better our lives. Thank you very much.
Lance, I'd like you to stay up for a moment. And, well, first of all, as far as the entire town board, that constitutes a town board meeting. We have to notice it. That's why only 2 members came to the nation when we came. That's just our rules, you know. So
we're planning.
Right. Well, so and we certainly will continue all of this. And I just you know, in IMU is something that personally, as one town board member, that's something that I hope that we can achieve between the town government and the nation, right? Intermunicipal understanding, an agreement that we can, you know, understand each other. And that's what I'm working towards with you and the rest of the nation.
And I think that's what we're looking forward to have that understanding that, you know, we are equal. And whether any of the, you know, surrounding community understands that or not, you know, that's not our problem. Mm-hmm. I know that we stand on our principles, our sovereignty, and the sovereignty of our people, and we are never going to let that go. And so how we can come together and communicate and work towards some of these issues, we're open. We're an open door. I mean, we've never hid anything. But it seems as if, you know, there's always some difficulty when we try to move forward, as former trustee Gordell Wright said. Every single time, you know, when we first did the cigarettes, it was the town of Southampton who sent the police up there to the territory to shut us down for selling tax-free cigarettes. It wasn't the state, it was the town of Southampton. So, I mean, if we go back through our history, we want to change that dynamics. And I think you have a board, you know, at Shinnecock that is willing to do that, was willing to sit down, we're willing to have these discussions, and we're willing to work towards a common goal.
I voted yes on that, attorney, and the reason why is because I believe this board needs guidance to achieve those goals. And I want to say that publicly. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Counselor, and I appreciate Marguerite Smith's comments because I agree with you.
Thank you.
Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom for a public portion? Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, Peter.
1 second. I'm trying to find something. Yeah, hi. Peter Frater again from the Bridgehampton Civic. I just have a comment on the since the Carvel Carvel marijuana dispensary is working its way through the planning board, and I know this in other hamlets there are other proposals for additional cannabis dispensaries. As far as the one in Bridgehampton, we're just going to speak for Bridgehampton. The Bridgehampton Civic would like the town to consider their decision to opt in on the establishment of cannabis dispensaries in the hamlet of Southampton. The decision by the previous town supervisor, along with the town board at the time, was hasty and ill-considered. The fact that all the incorporated villages had rightly decided to opt out of the establishment of dispensaries should have been a signal to the town that this wasn't something that they would want in the unincorporated hamlets, specifically Bridgehampton. Given that Bridgehampton and the other hamlets do not control their own land use, one would have thought that town officials would have wanted to protect them as the villages had done. Sadly, the previous administration chose short-term economic gain at the expense of maintaining the character of our hamlet. The fact that the Shinnecock Nation was setting up a dispensary seemed to be the impetus for this decision. And let me say right off, given the previous discussions, no one in the Bridgehampton Civic Association has any objection to the Shinnecock Nation establishing a cannabis dispensary on their land. It's their land. They're free to do whatever they want with it. I just want to make that clear. As was stated during the particular work session, if the Shinnecock Nation is going to be involved in the marijuana business, we should be involved in it too, meaning the town of Southampton. Disgraceful. We are requesting the town board take immediate steps to undo this decision. No one voted for this. No one asked our input, and the result is a very real possibility that a pot shop will be set up on the outskirts of Bridgehampton, replacing our much-loved Carvel. We are sincerely and desperately asking for your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, who's next?
I already went down that road. I had a lengthy conversation with Kathleen on this.
I think once you opt in,
you can't. You can opt in at any time, but you can't opt out. I asked because I felt that we should have left it to the Shinnecock Nation to have why do we need it in Southampton? I mean, they would have been the only dispensary between Riverhead and Montauk, and the former supervisor felt that we needed to have cannabis dispensaries. So here we are.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I'm Diana Adams, and first I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody else who's participated tonight. You know, whether I agree or don't agree with what they say, it's always useful to hear other people's perspective, and this is a great forum for doing that. So thank you to you and to all the participants. I'm a resident of Hampton Bays, and I live on Newtown Road, and I'm concerned about the increase in commercial vehicles that will result from the gas station that's being built in Westwoods and is currently at least solely accessible through Newtown Road. On August 19th, a group of 140 of us sent a letter to the supervisor and to the town board asking for measures to restrict traffic on Newtown Road. And these are our concerns. The gas station under construction is significantly bigger than anything similar in the area. And yet the sole access into or out of it is a small residential, one lane each way road. This will lead to an exponential increase in commercial traffic on Newtown Road. And the attractively priced gas will be sold at the station and will be particularly appealing to the construction and commercial businesses who service the east end of Long Island, probably the entire east end of Long Island. Not to me, I drive a Tesla, so I won't be using it. But so, you know, we can expect tractor trailers and construction vehicles, landscaping equipment, FedEx trucks and the like to line up for this attractively priced gas. This will destroy the residential nature of our community, and it will create safety hazards on this small road. This road doesn't have shoulders. It doesn't even have sidewalks. It's not built for commercial use. So, you know, as we all know, there are other issues involved in the gas station, but I wanted to use my 3 minutes to focus on the one danger that the town is fully equipped to consider and to plan for and to ameliorate. I'm asking that the town board engage with the community to discuss traffic limits on Newtown Road and to please respond to our letter and to our calls on this particular matter so that we can move forward on it well in advance of the opening of any gas station. Thank you.
Hi, Meredith Britz again from the Bridgehampton Civic Association. I'm out of my car now. I just wanted to address a couple of things that during this public portion. One, I too had come tonight to reiterate the need for the additional and to lobby for allocating some of the budget to additional police, and I'm very happy to hear that they will be added. I do also want to emphasize the need for more money for code enforcement and for increasing the code enforcement staff who are overtaxed. I can give an example. I had filed an SOS and it took them over a month to be able to address it. And by that time, the issue had been resolved. It doesn't help when they're out there 30 days later after the fact. Two, I wanted to also mention the long-term parking provisions, the long-term parking that Peter addressed earlier, and consider whether the council would consider amending the code and amending those provisions and take a look at whether the long-term parking is actually utilized. It may have made sense at the time of adoption to set aside that many number of spaces for these long-term parking, but the effect is it's hardly ever used and it takes significant parking away from the residents of the hamlets to be able to park there short-term. It's also somewhat, you can pay $150 if you're wealthy enough to ensure yourself that you always have a spot. It kind of goes against sort of where we are as a community to enable that. The third thing I wanted to come and speak about is the permitting process. I've actually heard more tonight about that as well, which only to me solidifies the view that we have sort of in Bridgehampton and as a Bridgehampton Civic, that there needs to be more transparency and more disclosure around when big events are applying for permits. We recently had to weather in Bridgehampton the Ralph Lauren event, which caused significant disruption in our hamlet. And we would like to ask the council whether there would be a consideration of, again, revising the permitting process, making it more similar to the variance process, where if someone applies for a permit for an event of a certain size, that there would be disclosure and notice given to at least surrounding neighbors and an ability for public input into that permit before the permit is actually issued. And then the last thing, which just came up, is I wanted to reemphasize what Peter was saying about the New York State marijuana dispensaries. And while it is true, and I've looked at it myself, that the law is that once you opt in, you can't opt out.
30 seconds.
I believe an argument can be made that the decision to opt in was not made with proper due process, that it was railroaded through at the expense of the unincorporated villages without proper representation. And I think that the town would have an argument to New York State that perhaps the ability not to opt out and limiting that once you've made the decision to opt in forever and ever and ever is also a violation and unconstitutional under New York State law. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, is there anyone else? All right, well, if no one else has any other comments, then I move to close.
I think he said
Oh, I thought you said nobody else.
he just said there's one more.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
We can hear you, we can't see you.
You can, okay.
Oh, we can see you.
My name is Roger Moores. I'm from Hampton Pines Groves, and I just wanted to talk to or about the gas station on Westwoods. I do not want to stop the Indian nation from getting more financial situations to help their people in hard times. However, I would like to know if they're working with us and we're trying to work with them, what happened to the environmental study for what's happening on what appears to be fee simple, their land? What happened to the 150 feet of wetlands that's supposed to be from Peconic inland? And I would also like to know, where is payment for Hampton Bay's services to be rendered in the future coming from? Also, where is any monitoring of construction? I fear the coming or projected coming of the casino at a projection of 7.2 million visitors a year, which means 19,700 per day on Newtown or other roads that are local and small, with our congestion presently being what it is. I am in the 2020 New York State Commissioner Monuments case, as I call it, or others have called it, the nation lawyer said Westwoods is fee simple. Quote, "We are working on establishing Aboriginal land status," unquote. He made that admittance in the case, and you can look it up. It's about 2/3 through the case, after he was sparring with the lawyer who demanded, the court judge who demanded an answer. I am in close proximity to Westwoods, and I don't have their longevity in the area, I am only 5 generations in America, but I want to know why when I wasn't even here, that I am now subject to these vast amounts of projections of people, because as Lawrence Gumbs has said, we're going to do it.
30
and
seconds.
I believe they're going to do it. Will this behemoth that they want to build in Westwoods, which is even larger than Jake's Casino, fit in the resources, the area, and will I have to pay the price even though I wasn't even here? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Kevin, that's it. All right, then, no, can't do twice. All right, so then I move to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's time for us to go forward with our resolutions.
Could we potentially
Just right.
While everybody clears out.
Yeah, everybody's leaving
Oh, thank you, thank you.
You have to tell my
Sorry.
Huh?
Hey, Kevin, we're
An
gonna
official
break.
break or just?
No, just let him go for two minutes. By the time they get out, he'll be back, hopefully.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I gave y'all a solution for your signs. You don't want signs? Don't get them signs, just set up and put a advertise on the billboard.
There you go.
You better get up with those Yeah, the road is crazy. I'm leaving for Barbados next month.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
When you come to like that, you think I'm gonna be in this country for election day in America? Not me. Excuse me, you need to know me. Hi, I'm Denise Smith. How are you?
Like we might have met before.
Did we meet? That's Niecy, everybody knows me.
You know,
Yeah, probably it's something.
where you eat my food up how I?
It's okay.
I
It's
was
okay.
at the powwow. I don't know if I.
It's okay. I'm gonna feed you all at on October 1st.
Ooh, yeah, October 1st.
Look at your hair. Of course. Look at your hair. Oh my
Are you
God.
Brad's little
Oh my-
sister?
No. I'm a lead.
Tommy John's campaigning.
This campaign
It's doing a campaign night tonight.
Yeah.
Heavy campaign night.
Why?
No
I don't know,
signs,
everything
though.
was buzzwords.
No signs.
My wife got jealous because I brought the thing over.
Is that your foot?
Yeah.
Do you want me to ask him to come?
She figured how
I guess
to,
so, if you could, just
she figured
ask
how
him to
go over.
return.
Oh, you got it on camera?
Here's Jack.
Yeah. I
Oh,
yelled to her.
so
I
at
said,
least Hannah gets to see
said
it.
she rolled over.
She did
There
it
she
on
goes,
command.
there she goes.
Look at her.
That new baby videos going on over there?
It's the granddaughter
Ah.
rolling over.
Oh, there you go.
I remember
Guess-
rolling
guess I-
over. It was only like it was yesterday.
She's not been doing it. She saw the light.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
glad
She's
I
happy,
had myself.
like she's gonna get up and walk.
Yeah,
My middle daughter.
she probably will be an early walker.
Dude.
You find him?
Oh, wow.
She was rolling over today on the side.
Yeah, they're talking to the.
The baby.
No, I think I interrupted and now he's using the facilities.
Another 20 minutes.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
this is my fault.
Yeah.
Did you start it?
Hey,
I
Kim.
did. But I was
I
quick
sent
at
you a
least.
text about it 2
You were
hours
very
ago.
quick.
We're still on camera, by the way.
She doesn't bring cell phones to meetings. She's got to.
To turn the heat down. You want it down or up? Down. It's hot.
It's hot in
It's
here.
not
I've
hot
even
in
put my
here.
jacket
No,
on.
please
Now
don't touch it.
You think it's hot in here?
Yeah, I'm sweating.
And everybody's
Oh.
gone.
Should be.
I get yelled
Now
at
the
by
road
my
will clear out.
It's definitely one of the men
Isn't
versus
it
women
nice
things.
that you
Mark,
two know each other?
guys
You
are
two
always
know each
warm
other
and
from a long
women are
time
always
ago.
cold.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yes.
Oh,
I think Kim was. We're not on.
We
I
are
think
on.
we are.
Are we not?
So no stories.
Never mind.
No stories.
Just pictures of me with black hair.
That goes back a long time. Please.
I took you for a blonde. I thought you were blonde.
I was in the summertime.
Okay.
All right. Let's go.
Thank you.
Good night, Michael.
Missed you.
Uh-huh.
I'm just going back here where I
Oh. So
See?
cold. Did
Oh.
you hear that?
There goes my theory.
Okay.
Okay.
First resolution, Councilman
You
Bell.
have to tell them that we're gonna start.
I don't
Kevin,
think
you
we
good,
ever
Kevin?
stopped.
Kevin, you ready?
Yeah,
we're good.
We're moving on.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1068. I'm gonna table again.
To the next meeting.
Let's skip.
Yeah, because we're having a
Yeah.
work session.
Bill, do we want to table or we want to withdraw it? Because I think we have to have a public
Yeah,
hearing.
we have to withdraw it.
Okay.
So, do you want me to wait to change the date
Yeah, because I
until
think
the
we have a
next
public
meeting?
hearing, then we'll put it on.
'Cause
We
we're
can
trying-
put it on for the
Further change in board.
the same
you're
date as the
withdrawing.
public hearing, so
Okay.
we can act on it at that time.
Well, okay. Town Board Resolution 2024-1093 to authorize purchases and installation fencing with Residential Fences Corp. Using Suffolk County contract and Eastern Suffolk BOCES contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1094, authorize purchases of artificial turf using Suffolk County contract with the Land Tech Group and Laser Industries Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1095,
On the last one?
agreement, contracts, and lease, authorized supervisor to sign contract with L.K. McLean Engineer and Surveyor, DPC, to provide professional engineer service for traffic study at the intersection of Lumber Lane and at Maple Lane and Lumber Lane at Narrow Lane in Bridgehampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1096, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with N&P Engineering, Architecture, and Land Surveying LLC to provide professional services for a traffic assessment all-way stop control at Settle Hole Road and Cooks Lane.
Second.
Second.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye. Sunday, I'd like to co-sponsor 1095 with Councilman Pell.
1095, okay,
Narrow Lane.
got it.
Town Board Resolution 2024.
It's Maple Lane and Lumber Lane. Oh, and Narrow. Okay, cool. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, Town Board Resolution 2024-1097, co-sponsored with council members Pell, Iacilli, Scavone, to authorize the supervisor to, oh, you should read this one.
No, go ahead. You can finish. You did a heck of a good job.
To authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with the trustees in order to implement trustee budget procedure for January 1, 2025 pursuant to Article 107 of New York State Town Law.
Sunday, can you add me to that?
I'm sorry,
Could you add me to that? I don't know, I was removed.
certainly.
So the whole
Good.
town board. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so the entire town board, congratulations.
I just want
and
to say a
thank
few
you.
things.
Yes.
That
Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank
I
you.
just
All
wanted-
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just wanted to thank this town board and the trustee town board and town attorney's office and
Comptroller.
comptroller and outside people who helped, Fred Thiel.
This is a lot of work.
It only took 2
Capone's.
years.
Yeah, it's like 10 years. There's a lot of arguing back and forth, and I was very happy. I was on both sides. I was a trustee
Yeah, you
for
got
14
to
years, so I started on one side and I finished on the other side.
I think
Lot
you
of
were.
collaboration.
Yeah, I think you were a
Just
great
wanted-
link, Bill, to,
yeah,
to
just
having
wanted-
the both. I think you were. It was very important to have you there. So.
Yeah, we just wanted to say thank you for everyone for the help and consideration and the arguing back and forth. What made it a good thing.
I think
you.
it was, I think it was helpful to have you on this side to serve as that liaison with the trustees so that you saw our side of some of our arguments. We're able to make it so that it wasn't,
I would appreciate the efforts of Sean and Christine.
Yeah.
Who really kind of brought it
was
over
a
the
great day
goal
for-
line for us.
You just pointed out it was supposed to be this. It's a certificate day. And Senator
Yeah.
Parliament for his help too,
Oh, right.
with Fred Thiel.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's it. Ready to sign.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad the entire board, that's nice. Okay,
I'm gonna read this one.
yes.
Board Resolution 2024-1098, authorize award of 2024 notice of proposed for professional engineer design service for water mill passage to L.K. McLean, associate engineer and surveyor.
This is a water quality project. I'd
Yes.
like to co-sponsor.
Yes.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's up in, that's for the fish ladder. Town Board Resolution.
Oh, wait, you
Got it.
seconded, Tom?
Oh,
John?
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1099, authorize the Justice Court to apply for grant funding to support Justice Court operations through New York State Unified Court System for 2024-2025 Justice Court Assisted Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1100, authorize the purchases of public safety communications equipment from Integrated Wireless Technologies, LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1101, authorize the purchases of public safety communications equipment from Motorola Solutions, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1102, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract amendment with Edward Wolfersdorf to assist with the review of backlog permit plans in the Department of Land Management.
Second.
I hear, by the way, that he's doing a very good job.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1103 of 2024, authorize the supervisor to execute a donation agreement for the installation of a fitness station at Boston Memorial Long Beach. It's co-sponsored with Councilman Pell and Schiavone.
On the second, and on the motion, I want to thank Drew Harvey for his work on this, as well as the Noyak Civic Council, who had a number of meetings, who bring this thing out, along with Drew, who, with his not-for-profit, it will be donating this exercise equipment. We had a work session on this last week, so this
Very
is great.
generous of them to do that.
Town Board Resolution.
Oh, wait, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Town Board Resolution 2024-1104.
It says withdraw as per Charlie McCarty.
Okay, I'd like to withdraw this.
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
The Town Board Resolution 2024-1104. I'd like to withdraw this.
Withdraw it?
Yes.
Got it.
Was there a reason?
I don't know
I
who
wasn't-
wrote that on mine, but it says withdraw as per Charlie McCarty.
It's got a top note from the supervisor.
Okay.
I mean, I hope it wasn't tampered.
But if it's wrong, we can put it back on.
Yeah, I mean, if we could, if you.
I'm
just
gonna
get-
find out
Thank you,
tomorrow.
thank you.
I'm sorry, you're withdrawing it, correct? I just
Yes.
can't hear the back and forth that's going on.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Town Board Resolution 1105 of 2024 authorized the supervisor to execute an indemnification and hold harmless letter for the Riverhead Central School District for a Youth Bureau after-school program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1106 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorize the supervisor to execute any and all documents with RecTrack LLC DBA Vermont Systems for their RecTrack software to manage the town's operations for parks and recreation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1107 of 2024, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for awards of Community Preservation Fund, CPF, 20% water quality improvements, project funds for the Village of Southampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Co-sponsored with Councilman Pell.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1108, also sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, authorize supervisor to sign no-cost contract extended for the 2022 award of Community Preservation Fund, 20% water quality improvement. project
Second.
funds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1109 of 2024, accept, award, and authorize the supervisor to sign any and all documents pertaining to the New York Consolidated Funding Grant Award for the Alwide Creek Habitat Enhancement Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1110, sponsored by Councilman Schiavone, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution number 1430 of 2023 as it relates to the use of Suffolk County American Rescue Plan, ARPA, funds in furtherance of the Riverside Sewer District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1111, also co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, to recall and amend Board Resolution 2024-885, authorize supervisor sign a contract extending the award Community Preservation Fund Water Quality Improvement Project Funds for Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1112, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2024-937, authorizing the supervisor to execute a 2024 renewal with Bentley Systems, Inc. for their ProcureWare Cloud posted software solution to manage the town's operations for bidding and contracts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1113, the 2024 notice to bidders for heavy-duty truck parts, Class 5-8 trucks.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1114, notice to bidders for Bay Drive bulkhead rehabilitation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1115, the allocation of ARPA's coronavirus federal grant. Oh, wait a minute.
That's us to redo, because you gotta walk.
The substitution,
Yeah.
right?
Should I read the substitution now?
We'd have to take it
Yeah,
in
let's-
order. You gotta, right?
Okay, so we'll just leave it.
Just withdraw.
So withdrawing, I'm withdrawing
Okay.
Sunday.
Yes. Okay, got it.
All right, Town Board Resolution 2024-1116, to amend the 2024 budget for various departments. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1117, to authorize the closure of certain capital projects.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1118, to authorize expenditures from restricted account for the Windsor Heart Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1119, to authorize the town to reimburse New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, NYMER, the deductible for liability and property damage claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1120, co-sponsored by the entire board, to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for Hampton Bays Water District Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System Upgrade Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1121, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, to amend the 2024-2028 capital program and add capital project Poxabog Golf Center improvements.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I be added as a co-sponsor to that?
Certainly.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2024-1122, resolution to adopt amend the tax seasonal parking restriction on Mount Laurel Lane, Tuckahoe.
Second.
On the
All in
motion?
favor?
Well, I just want to speak about this.
Oh.
Yeah, this
Sorry,
one,
yeah.
you're right. We had a work session on this particular,
No, we didn't. We had a public hearing.
yeah, right, a public hearing. I'm sorry, I get confused. But this is Mountain Laurel Lane, which is a subdivision that abuts the Sandy Hollow Day Camp. And to me, putting no parking restrictions on Mountain Laurel Lane, as I said in that public hearing, would put parents and de facto children on to Sandy Hollow Road. And that to me is an exponentially dangerous situation. So for that reason, I cannot support this.
I just want to say one couple of things. I went up there probably maybe at least 6 times, 7 times, different times of the day to see what was actually going on. And I found that, one, the guy was right. The day camp was there before the developer. So what did he do back then? Just like Tom, the engineer, the town engineer says that commercial property have to have parking on their property. He made no attempt to park any cars on his property during the daytime. I went up there, I saw 1 car parked on his property. All his help parks across the street on people's property and on the county right of way. I saw cars parked up in line there, kids come and run through the woods themselves. I saw parents get out of their work truck and garbage fall out. They pick up the kid and put it back in. And the owner of the camp, it's a great thing, it's good for the community, but he has to own up to his business and have parking and fix the problem on himself. If he tried to fix the problem, he has not. He just told people just park there. So this will force them to get a site plan, clean the place up, and there's enough room. The road going up there, he has to put a road up there, put park on there, and make a circle so that they can drive in and leave. They don't have to pick up on County Road 39. I mean, not County Road 31 on the county road. The guy has alternatives, and he has to figure that out. And he can't rely on the neighbor and take the easy way out. That's why I'm supporting this.
So respectfully, I understand your points, and as Councilman Schivoni said, to say that this is going to force him to do that, I don't think it will, and I think until that happens, you're forcing the project out onto Sandy Hollow, where the kids will be on Sandy Hollow, and because nothing in this forces him to address this problem. Like we're not. This is not fixing the problem on site. It's just putting it somewhere else, and that somewhere else is Sandy Hollow Road, which is a very dangerous road. And I just, like I said, I understand the intent, but I just can't, without having it known that they have addressed the problem and it will be, all done on site. I just can't take these kids off of a safe road and put them out on Sandy Hollow and say, figure it out. It just doesn't sit right with me. And like I said, this is one of the last day camps in this town that is still affordable for the working class. And, maybe we can work with him to figure this out and do it in a better way. I just don't, I think this is just putting the problems.
He had an opportunity to come in for a site plan. He's supposed to be working on a site plan to do it.
Jim, can we force somebody to modify their site plan if it's a dangerous situation or they don't have adequate, they haven't addressed the parking adequately?
Well, it's tough because this is a pre-existing use and it's probably got COs for an existing, day camp, so it'd be hard to we can try to work with them and
yes,
whether what size hammer we have here is be questionable, but
faster.
we'll certainly take a look at it. I mean, I don't know the specific details of what kind of COs he has here and whatnot. I know that the camp owners were at the hearings. Right? I remember them speaking. So, and obviously there's a long-term time business in the town. So, I'm more than willing to sit down with them and with planning and help people see if there's something we can work out.
Are the residents able to park on Sandy Hollow? They are.
Up farther, they just the first part of it, they want no parking. But
There are no houses for the first several
There's
hundred
no
yards.
No. You said that this will prompt parents to park on Sandy Hollow,
which they can. There's no.
They're
no
allowed to
parking
park
signs.
there?
Yes.
And it's also make them pull down in there and make us turn around and come back out, which that's how it should be done.
And and Bill, you went there, right? After the residents came out and the camp was here?
6 or 7 times doing different, when they, in the morning, late afternoon, I went over by at lunchtime because I wanted to see if people were hanging out there.
And Bill,
with help.
Did you have conversations with the owner?
Just here.
Just that?
I did not go on his property because I wasn't invited.
Okay.
And the lawyers told me to stay off the property.
Well,
And I listened to them.
there was an email from Ryan Murphy, our Town Code Compliance and Emergency Management Administrator, back in July 12th, and he said that he supported the proposal to limit the parking to seasonal no parking restriction, that it would help redirect more activity to the day camp property.
And is that what this is doing?
Yes.
Hopefully that's what will happen, but we should be working with the property owner too.
But I mean, if the public safety administrator is supportive of this measure and seems to think that this would remedy the problem, I mean, I think we have to at least give it a shot.
And I spoke with Ryan about this
removing
too,
the
and he
problem.
did say that they can, with this restriction in place, they can use this entire development as basically a car loop.
Yeah.
So they can now put a counselor there and have the kids, they don't have to put it on their property, they can put it right on this road and they can have the cars pull in, drop their kid, go up through, which they don't currently do. They currently park and then they turn around and then they leave. Now they're going to have to basically drive into this development, go around their cul-de-sac, and then drive back out. So it could be worse for the neighbors.
So be careful what you ask for, right?
That's why when they heard that, when they heard Ryan say that they could do that, they basically then asked for no stopping, no standing.
Huh.
So
This has been going on for several years.
In
Well,
the
that's a little
public hearing,
extreme, no parking. I mean, this, it says no parking, not no standing or stopping.
in the public hearing, it was, you said that you were gonna reach out to the county, and when I asked about that, you said the county has no problem with us putting no stopping or, no parking signs on our road, which seemed kind of odd, because of course they wouldn't. But, I mean, the spirit of that was to see if the county was planning any upgrades for Sandy Hollow.
Which they're not.
I truly believe we're not solving a problem, we're moving it to a more, a busier
Or
street.
making it worse for
And
the.
so for the interest of the safety of children, I just,
That wasn't the question that was asked to the county, whether they could
No,
park. I
they-
thought it was, do you have any plans
Do you have
for
any upgrades?
Sandy Hollow,
I
right.
misunderstood what you
Yeah.
said.
And they said no, they did not.
No.
oh, okay, all right, well,
Discussion.
there we go.
So,
There's a motion and a second.
somebody seconded it, yes?
I did.
So all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. We'll try it, but
No.
please, Jim,
All opposed?
all
No.
opposed
Two.
to talk to, you know.
Now,
Thank you.
now we can reach out and try to talk to them for next spring. Town board resolution 2024-1123. Oops, this was the name of it.
Oh, yeah, that's the one Katie did.
Yeah, just did that.
No, I don't. think we did. We did put her on Sandy
This is a
Hollow.
different
There's only one, yeah. Excuse me. Town Board Resolution 2024-1123, resolution to adopt amend Town Code 123-25 with respect to road review requirements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Stay seated, Tommy John. I'm gonna withdraw 2024-1124 because everyone is now on notice and knows the law, and we're just gonna enforce back out.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Yes.
When does that
Saved
go
you a
in,
trip to the hall.
when does that go into effect?
It doesn't have to,
What are
it's
you
already the
talking about?
law.
He just
She
withdrew
withdrew it.
it.
We're
understand.
keeping the
Like
code as is.
We're not changing anything. The
Nothing
code is
happened.
the code.
We're just
Code is the
enforcing the code as is without the
So
clarification.
there's 4 signs by my corner.
It's withdrawn.
They're gone when Bill goes home tonight.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1125.
Wait, I hope you give people
Vigilantes
a
all
week
throughout
or
the
so.
town.
You'll have to watch it.
Okay, I guess I'll have to watch it.
You have to watch it.
It was a lengthy
It's already
discussion.
the law.
You watch it when you get home tonight.
They'll be
Bedtime
knocking on your door.
watching.
Okay, so, Town Board Resolution 2024-1125 to sponsor with Councilman Scaloni to authorize the sale of a town-owned .90 fractional time variance credit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2024-1126, waive showmobile fee for East Quogue Fire Department Annual Seafood and Beer Festival, which sold out for the 3rd year in a row.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1127, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of a cost reimbursement waiver for the Hampton-based Fire Department Turkey Trot 5K on November 28th, 2024, from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1128 to appoint a hearing officer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1129 to create the position of accountant in the comptroller's office and appoint Tyler Wist.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1130 to appoint Sylvia Sullivan to Administrative Assistant position in Human Resources.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1131 to appoint Matthew Mazzella to Environmental Technician in Land Management.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1132 to appoint Candace Brambley to Records Retention Manager in the Town Clerk's Office.
Second.
I'd like to co-sponsor that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1133 to appoint Marjorie Riley to Senior Building Inspector in the Building Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1134 to authorize Municipal Works Director to sign a stipulation of agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1135 of 2024 authorized the Youth Bureau Director to attend the Association of New York State Youth Bureau Directors training.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1136 to terminate an employee in the Justice Court.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1137 of 2024, co-sponsored with Council Member McNamara and Yaselli. Notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of 6C Squires Pond Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays and to amend CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that public hearing will be on October 8th. Town Board Resolution 2024-1138, co-sponsored by the entire board. A notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of 27 Tiana Circle.
Second.
There's a typo in that, Sunday, I don't know, the word circle. In the hamlet of Hampton Bays, and to amend the CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it'll be on October 8th. Town Board Resolution 2024-1139, co-sponsored by the entire board. A notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of land at 65 Old Riverhead Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays, and to amend the CPF project plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's on October 8th as well.
Town Board Resolution 1140 of 2024, notice of public hearing for the proposed allocation of the Community Development Block Grant funds for the year 2025.
Second.
Sunday,
Co-sponsor.
could I be added to that, please?
You gotta say who's co-sponsor.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1141.
We didn't vote.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was adding the sponsors.
2024-1140. I seconded. Councilwoman wants to be added.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1141, co-sponsored with McMahon and Sicavoni. Notice of public hearing to consider granting license agreement to John Nunn and West Auburn Waste Company, Inc., the use of the portion of the Conscious Point Marina to further the aquaculture activities.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1142 to review the road application for Paramount Development Group, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0900-377.00-01.00-018.002 and 018.003 Situate in Quiog.
Very good.
Accepted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just so you know, Councilman Bouvier used to have to always do these, and he just said tax map number as indicated in the resolution.
I'm gonna do that next time.
Zeros. Too
You
many
can
zeros.
take up the
Yes.
zeros. 900.
They could have left a few out.
Nobody knows what you're
They
saying.
could have left a few out.
They could have left a few out. You would have identified it just as.
Yeah.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1143, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize the acquisition of 867 Millstone Road in the hamlet of Noyak, New York, and to amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1144, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize the acquisition of 180 and 182 Red Creek Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays, New York, and to amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we've got our walk-on. The first one, Town Board Resolution ID number 47535, the 2024 notice to bidders for fencing and stakes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47536 to waive showmobile fees for Live Your Core Foundation fundraiser.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution ID number 47540, release of performance and accept deed of dedication into town highway system for extension of roads known as Barn Lane and Birchwood Lane in the hamlet of Bridgehampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47541, to approve warrant number 18.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And me again. Town Board Resolution ID number 47542 to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with eScribe Software Ltd. for their meeting management software solution to manage the town's meeting agendas, minutes, and meeting video streaming.
No more minute track?
Oh, well, that's been
What
on
a
the
just got
relief.
used to it.
I have to say one thing.
Second it first.
No, before, because we might not want it. Are you going to be happy with it?
I am going to be very
I'll
happy.
second it.
So are you, because it's the town
Kim.
board's meeting agenda system.
Okay.
Oh,
Second.
okay.
Hold on, I just have a question. Does this include the optional extra encoder for Hampton Bays?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
That's an option that we are not exercising right
But
now,
it's
but
in
they
here.
put it in the pricing that it's available to you because you do have the feed in Hampton Bays, and if you add the encoder to the feed, you'll be able to televise from there, and
That's
you
good.
should be able to live stream,
That would be
Oh.
great.
which will go right into the system and right onto channel 22 in real time, which
So we can
would
have
be
our
big. So
water
you
district
could
meetings there if we wanted to.
exactly.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Well,
much for
thank
doing
you.
that.
And
for
this
all your
also will allow us to be in compliance with the closed captioning, which we've been trying to accomplish for a couple of
Yes.
years
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
So that's a big
It's a great
plus with
ADA,
this as well.
ADA benefit.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
I know you've been working on this for almost 2 years,
Tirelessly
right?
with IT, and
Yeah.
we partner
Follow,
on
yeah.
this project. Yeah, yes.
Thank you
at
for your
least.
work.
You've been
Okay.
listening to me complain for
No,
5
no.
years, but we've accomplished this goal, and this is a big step forward for us in staying state of the art and cutting edge. So we appreciate your support very much. Thank you.
So you have a second?
Thank you for your hard
Second.
work. All in favor?
Aye.
And last but not least, the substitution, Town Board Resolution
The allocation of
ID
ARPA's?
number 47545, substituted for the original 1115, is the allocation of ARPA's coronavirus federal grant for waste management equipment.
Second.
We
So-
added
so-
a Bobcat.
Yeah, what was the change?
I think we added a Bobcat.
And actually, I'll explain it. We got an excavator, which is very worth having because we can share it, Tom can share it to other departments for when they repossess, impound a boat, we have to smash a boat up, we can use it for that. When there's a whale or a animal on the beach, what we need to have to hire excavator, they can use that. And the Bobcat is, in the near future, we hope, we went to East Hampton transfer station, and we wanted to imply some of the stuff they do there, like a cardboard baler. We would need that to move the bales of cardboard. Also to clean up the parking lot with sweeping from the Bobcat, because it can have different instruments on it. And then I use leaching trailer, it's 9,000 gallons, to help with the stuff.
And so it's a used leachate trailer?
Yes.
Is this what our department head, I mean, did he want this? He
Yes.
wanted, because the first one was originally a vac truck, right?
Yeah.
No,
No, it was a
wasn't
leachate tank.
It was a
trailer,
leachate, but
But it wasn't lined, and Bill pointed that out.
So now we're getting a used one instead of a new one?
Yes,
This
for
one's
less
actually-
money, so we
yeah,
can get the
it's quarter
Bobcat
inch
too.
thick instead of 3/16. And we don't need a pump on it because we have a pump in the tank. So no needs to have a trailer with a pump on it. We just have to make sure that fix the pump, the leach tank, the pump into it.
Sounds good.
This was good work collaborating with
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, coming up with a nice
Yeah, we
solution.
got more
for you.
equipment.
Yeah, got more
For the future.
equipment. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody else have anything they want to add before we close?
Yes.
You do.
What do we do in Hampton Bays this week, Bill?
Nothing in Hampton Bays. I'm waiting for Jackie to get over COVID so we can start on the Passage Park. started on the building here, which is a good sign.
Yeah, I saw that in front.
The roof, we started to fix the gutters, repair the broken gutter and a rotten soffit on the northeast corner of the building. Should be done in about a week, and then they're gonna start on the stuff pretty soon and paint and that stuff. Yeah, to make this building look a lot nicer for the town people.
Thank you.
All right.
I just wanna put Peter is doing a good job.
Peter Guardiello is doing a great job.
Yeah.
With Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, and I see the EV chargers are going in.
We don't wanna talk about those.
I
big
know.
stuff.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Right, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Bye, Mike. I need a motion to close the
Second.
meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.